Alright, we are live. How am I, Walt, you can hear me clearly?
Yep. Clister clear.
Oh, man.
Crystal. How about me? Do I sound
Yeah,
okay?
yeah, you're good.
That's good.
Cool. Because I'm not using my usual headphones, so.
Tight.
Um,
Tight, 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 tight.
alright. Oh, man, I can't wait to get into this one.
Mm, that's a good couple of things.
I didn't check back on sound, so let me check that real quick actually.
Okay.
Yes. And we shall
Let's
speak
see.
with our mouths. Well, you
Yeah,
check
do
the
that.
sound.
Do that. Can you speak from anywhere else, Walt?
Yeah,
What?
Walt.
What? What do you mean? What do you mean, man? Am I sounding
Okay.
good? Uh,
Yeah, you're good. You're good. You sound good.
I'm talking with sheep. And Catherine, these sheep. Sheep.
Okay.
I'm talking with sheep with glasses. And now,
Oh,
just
someone's
sheep.
playing Catherine.
Yes.
All right, we're good on sound.
I'm
People sound
okay.
good.
Sweet.
Alright, cool.
Sweet. 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 Sweet.
Alright.
Good on sound.
Let me actually tweet this out as well. And then we are good to go.
Paka, paka, chum, pa, pa. Chicka, pa, chicka, chicka. Calm down.
So, guys, how excited are we for more Grand Theft Auto 5?
Oh, we'll get into it. We'll get into it.
Well, I feel like I'll have to like restrain myself a bit because if not, I'll go into a Call of Duty situation.
Oh no.
No, you don't gotta go that far.
No, but like in terms of like it being philosophical.
There's no philosophical nature to it, Walt. It's just one material nature to it. Money.
God, I saw this is a tangent, but I saw last night before I went to bed.
Yeah.
Someone tweeted out this like little cutscene in the new NBA 2K game that just came out, and it was
I know what you're talking about.
the fucking Jake from State Farm shit. Talking to your player character. I'm like, God, like this is another just adding to the very long list of reasons why I don't play this trash anymore, and I haven't bought this trash in years. Like it's so funny having a forced insurance advertisement in your basketball video game, man. It's so
It's a full
ridiculous.
cutscene.
Yeah,
It's a full cutscene.
it's so
He's like, no,
cringy.
they say State Farm is there. He's like, oh, he said it. I'm just like, what?
Like, how do you
Wait,
get hyped for that? Like, what?
a a 2K game?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
You're shitting me.
No, it
Yeah.
was funny as
I
shit.
mean, it's not surprising. They they have in the
I,
middle
I didn't
in
know
the
they did
middle.
that.
Yeah, they do it all like so much.
He's
What?
like, yeah, like legit, like at the end, he was like, yeah, just like your friendly neighbor, State Farm is there. And he's like, oh, he said it. Oh, and they like, give each other that. I'm just like,
Right?
get the fuck out of here.
Yeah. It's so dumb.
Oh, what the fuck?
It's
Um.
mad funny.
Yeah.
Hilarious. That's some. That's some Jake and what's it called? The Jack and Jill, the Adam Sandler movie where there's like 100 product placements in the movie. That's a whole advertisement.
Yeah.
Golly.
Pays the bills.
Wait, but like, do you think someone's like playing 2K and they're like, oh shit, I should get that insurance, and they like get it?
I mean,
Do you think someone might have done that?
like realistically, no. But like,
Okay.
it's one of those things where like, you see like a Coca-Cola bottle in a movie scene, right? Like you unconsciously see because like you're just like, oh, it's a Coca-Cola bottle. But at the end of the day, when you go to a grocery store, you're like, oh wow, I could probably go for some soda. They're probably hoping someone's like, I should probably get some State Farm insurance to like, because they're mad cool, right? They're mad cool. I could talk to
so
them
cool.
like, yeah, exactly. That's what they're hoping for.
Wearing
Yeah.
those red shirts and those khakis.
Yep.
So speaking of which, I just saw this article from The Gamer, and the caption is woeful misunderstanding of drip. And then the title of the article is NBA 2K22 isn't even trying to hide its State Farm advertisement.
Bruh.
There you go.
God.
Very cognizant.
All right, man, let's get started with the podcast. Guys, welcome back to the 29th episode of the DualShock Sense Podcast. I am your host, Soul, the connoisseur of anime waifus, joined, as always, by my two co-hosts. I got Walt. How you doing, man?
What's up, y'all? The Manga Maniac and a very happy PlayStation boy this week. Can't wait to get into some of these announcements. Some of these predictions came to be. Very few, but still happy with what we got. We'll get into it more, but doing good. Play not many games, but very excited for the future.
Yes, sir. And we also got Macho. How you doing?
What's going on, everyone? It's King of Kingdom Hearts and the Final Fantasy fanatic. I'm excited to finally get into this, man. We did the goes. You learn from your mistakes. So, but yeah, man, it was a productive gaming week. I'm excited to get into it. It's there's quite a bit to talk about, ain't that right, Sol?
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, definitely that's a good plug, man. Guys, if you want to see Macho's reaction to the PlayStation Showcase as it happened, please go check out the channel. And yeah, before we get started, I want to remind you guys to go ahead and like the podcast and subscribe. We would greatly appreciate that. We're gonna kick things off, just like we always do, talking about the games that we've been playing in the last week. I'll start things off by kind of giving an update on my Resident Evil 2 adventure, man. So we finally finished Leon's campaign. That was really fun.
Nice.
Now like I'm specifically looking forward to a theoretical RE4 remake, just for the simple fact of I want to see Ada and Leon's relationship continued. Because I thought it was really fun, like seeing the like, I don't know, like Ada kind of like will she, won't she, like kind of like warming up to Leon throughout the story, right? Like you feel uneasy about her from the start, and then like you don't really know if she really does like him or not, and then obviously there's the betrayal, and then she falls off presumably to her death, and then she comes through at the end with a rocket launcher for Leon, and you kind of get a sense that it's like just strictly business, right? Because she's like, now we're even once she actually gets him the rocket launcher, but then at the same time you're like, okay, maybe there is something there. So I don't know. I really love that relationship between those two. From my memories of RE4, that's like I don't remember them like that relationship being that interesting. So yeah, I'm hoping, if there is an RE4 remake, that they kind of do continue this like new spin on their relationship, because it was definitely like the highlight for me. But yeah.
Yeah, I think it might. I don't know how they're gonna do it in this remake, but it might just continue that full on tease of like, will they, won't they? Because that's kind of always been like the allure of like those two.
Yeah.
Up to all the way to Resident Evil 6, it's been like that, and even by the time that you finish Resident Evil 6, there is still that kind of like quote unquote chemistry between them, where it's like it's like they do it on purpose. It's like they like each other, but they still choose to not get involved, but they enjoy that like cat and mouse kind of thing. I don't know. It's really
That's
it's
a good
one
way.
of the better aspects.
That's a good way to explain it. The cat and mouse kind of thing.
Yeah, it's one of the better aspects of that final game.
Yeah.
It's seeing just
Yeah.
a different relationship.
I mean, even
Yeah, for sure.
Leon, like at the end of that of that story, like he kind of like once he hops onto the train before the whole thing like gets blown to the ground, he even says that he misses Ada, which I thought was like a nice little like last line for him. But yeah. So I finished Leon's campaign. It was pretty fun. Funnily enough, man, what's his name? William Birkin, man. He he killed in his final form. He was a problem, dude. But it was fun. And then so yeah, I hopped right immediately into Claire's campaign, and I got like it's weird because like it really irks me because I'm pretty like deep into it now. Like I'm in the sewers in Claire's campaign. I feel like I'm like probably halfway done with it. Like I'm out of the police station. I'm in the sewers. I've already met Annette Birkin. Already got Sherry out of the orphanage. All that stuff. But I'm really weirded out by the fact that like it almost feels like this is like an alternate like reality instead of both Claire and Leon's story happening at the same time, if you know what I mean. So like for instance, like fighting William Birkin again in the exact same way, even though like Leon just did it like theoretically like 5 minutes ago. So like what I was expecting coming into this was like, okay, like the burning helicopter, Leon already extinguished that, right? So I was expecting Claire to like the helicopter to be already moved out of the way, or the flames to already be out. But no, you douse the flames the exact same way that Leon did, and Mr. X does the same exact thing, like pushing the helicopter out of the way, right? It's that same exact encounter. So like I was totally expecting like evidence of okay, Leon has already been through this area, right? But no, it's literally just like most of it at least is like you're kind of doing the exact same thing, and it just feels weird because right, like there are moments where you run into Leon in the police station, but it's almost like that like you wouldn't know because like you're doing some of these things for the first time as if Leon didn't just run through here 5 minutes earlier. I don't know if that makes any sense, but
It makes sense.
yeah, it just really like took me out of it like a couple times. But besides that, man, it's they do enough story wise, and the fact that the tyrant is literally on your ass from the beginning, they do enough there that does make it feel different enough. Right? Like just the fact that Mr. X is there pretty much from the beginning it makes it so much more tense than the Leon stuff. Because I feel like Mr. X didn't show up in Leon's campaign until like maybe the like midway point. But he's literally here from the start. So it just made like and it's funny because Claire's campaign there's like way more backtracking in the police station. At least that's what it felt like for me. So it just made everything more like that much more tense. And then I made sure specifically with Claire's campaign because I feel like I don't know if like I was just running into ammo a little bit less, but like I definitely made it a point to more so than in Leon's campaign to just like avoid a lot more zombies than clearing them out. So that added to the more like be like feeling intense or just like the tense nature of everything because like I'm running from Mr. X. There's times where like I'll open a door and he's literally like entering the room and then I'm turning to run away and it's like shit man, I didn't clear out any of these zombies because I've just been trying to like run away and juke them out. Now like I got Mr. X like on my ass And like I'm running through a hallway that I left two lickers alive, as well as all these zombies alive as well. So it's like goddamn, dude. Like I don't know. It just made like everything. Like Claire's campaign for me has been a lot more tense because of that stuff. And then you add, I don't know why, man, but the chief, the section as you're playing as Sherry and you're sneaking around the orphanage as Sherry and you have the chief chasing you around. That to me, that was more scary than Mr. X, honestly. Um,
I love those sections, honestly. That was such a great surprise.
Because you can't fight back. That's
Yeah,
like one of the
yeah.
biggest things. And then if you like that, Jay, you should try Outlast. You're
nah,
gonna love it,
Nah, I'm
Nah,
good.
you can't that. Don't do Outlast. Don't do
Nah,
Outlast.
yeah, I'm good.
man.
But
I will
no,
give
Mahmood's in the chat and great to see you in here by the way. But
Hey.
no, it's not the Star's office. It's literally I think it's the hallway by the reception room, like on the like once you're in the main hall, you take a left and it's the hallway with
Where the
the
first liquor appears.
yeah. And well, it's the one with like the radio that's like on loop or whatever.
Yeah, yeah, and you take a right, and there's like broken windows to the left. I mean, if you keep going straight towards the left, and you like literally on that left wall, there's the locker room. Um, yeah, it's
I
a whole,
think
it's a big hallway. It's a long hallway to the left if you take a left.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, I mean that thing. I ran around so many times throughout the police station, and I think if you beat the game first with Claire, you get slightly some changes to Leon's story if you play it as Leon afterwards. Because there's like Leon and then Claire 2, and then Claire and then Leon 2, or something like that. I don't know. It's like 4 different versions of the campaign.
Yeah. Yeah, which I
Real
might.
quick. I just want to interrupt real quick. Just say to Mamu in the chat,
Oh
welcome in
yeah.
and congratulations on your promotion to in Lognet. I think he's promoted to assistant editor in chief, which is it's awesome.
Hey,
So
Yeah,
congrats, man.
congrats.
for sure, man. Um, yeah, man.
Sorry, continue.
Hey, man. Mahmood always helped me out, man. He was awesome, man. Um, but yeah. So I think that pretty much wraps up my thoughts on RE2.
The game.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. I'm generally like really enjoying it. And like Sherry too. Like I was expecting, I don't know, kids could be annoying and like no, man. Like it like immediately want to protect her, right? So yeah, I think they did a really good job with her character specifically. But yeah,
If
that's
you now that you played the remake, then that's another and again, that's like if you've never played 6, that's one of the reasons I would like only encourage you to play it for those little moments that you get because there's a scene where Leon after years
Yeah, I
and
know you're
years and
talking about.
years,
Well, I know you're talking about. Yeah, yeah.
he finally like encounters Sherry in a way that it's so you feel it. It's like whoa, it has been years since she was a child that they haven't seen each other because the first time they meet is here in Raccoon City.
yeah.
So I don't know. Man, 6 did so
I
many
mean,
misses and so many hits.
the feelings that Sherry just seeing Sherry grow up and to kind of just like really take on like this world's problems too. It's
Yeah,
sad, but at the same time, it's also kind of like it's badass because she didn't run away from it. She's fighting it head on. She's looking to how to
and
solve
she grew into
everything.
such a like great character.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what honestly, yeah, that's a big highlight of 6. That her and Helena, as well as Leon and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
Ada's story. I don't know what they did there. It's fucking all over the place. I don't know. There's so much going on.
Yeah.
But Macho, what about you? You've been playing that goodness. What are you playing?
yeah, I've been playing a couple of games, man. So like I was in a low period a little bit where like I didn't want to play anything because all I kept thinking about was Tales of Arise. And it's finally here, man. It's finally here. So, Tales of Arise, I played about, I think the game timer I checked was around 5 to 6 hours so far I put into the game. And those 5 to 6 hours just kind of breeze by, man. It honestly feels like I've only been playing the game for 2 hours because I'm just having a lot of fun. And the story is really freaking good. One of the things about Tales games that it does take some time to so really settle itself into the characters and building up its story. But this one, it does the same, but like it adds a lot more exciting moments at the beginning as far as introducing certain characters or even the dichotomy of like these two characters. So the entire premise of it is that you play as this guy who's called the Iron Mask and is basically the main character with the white hair, kind of the half like broken mask that you see like in the trailers. Yeah, and in the beginning of the game you see him fully covered, so they call him the Iron Mask. And he it's a typical JRPG trope where he has amnesia. He doesn't know who he is. He doesn't even know what he looks like. So like it's like one of those things that you just kind of have to roll with the punches a little bit. But the thing is, it embraces what it is. You know what I mean? Like it does it like, and it makes fun of it at the same time. So it's not exactly like super serious anime, like, oh, I can't forget who I am. Like, he's like, no, like, shit, I can't remember who I am. And they even ask, like, how you even eat? And he's like, yeah, I find a way to do it. Like, you just have to roll with it, you know? So, like, it's like stuff like that. And then, so, like, his whole spiel is that, obviously, he has amnesia, but the other part of him is that he can't feel pain. And that adds to kind of like one of his like identities, you could say, really, of just as far as like how he kind of sees everything, how he perceives everything, on top of just being grown up the way he is. I'm not going to spoil it because it actually adds like to some background. And so he's a person that can't feel pain, and then he ends up encountering the girl Shion, who's the other main protagonist, whoever she touches, or whoever touches her, she emits like a bolt of not even a bolt, but just like a spark of electricity and lightning, basically like seriously injuring and damaging people.
Oh.
So she's like completely petrified to even touch anybody, and anybody that touches her that she sees as an enemy, she's like, yeah, go ahead, grab my shoulder, see what happens, you know. So like, so it's like one of those things where like it's a story of the unstoppable force meets the immovable object, except in this case it's the man who can't feel pain meets the girl who inflicts pain on everybody.
Oh, so he cannot feel the pain she inflicts upon him.
Yeah, so in that case of like he like grabs her shoulder, he's like, I don't feel anything, but at the same time he could be losing a finger and like he still wouldn't feel it, you know.
Oh, so he still feels he still has repercussion upon his body. He just doesn't feel it.
Yeah, he's not immortal. He could definitely still take damage. Like his limbs could be cut off, but he'll be like, I didn't feel it, but you won't have any hands anymore. You know.
Got it.
So with that said, of like kind of like the setting up these two characters and like the world and everything, the gameplay is starting to open up a little bit more. It really does break it down to you bit by bit, just because there's quite a bit going on. And overall, it's a lot more polished. It's way more fun than Berseria. Berseria, it took a little bit for me to get into with the kind of the it felt like that you're being anchored a little bit and everything's a little more rigid in Berseria, where you had like this gauge that basically counted the amount of like arts or actions you can use in a combo. So you can freely attack, but your arts are limited based on this little gauge. And it's the same thing here in Tales of Arise, but it's way more fun and a little more forgiving, and just more freeform for you using your arts. And everything just like simpling everything into combos just feels really good and satisfying. And I'm looking forward to getting more characters, man. I'm really enjoying the story and like the pacing and the setup and everything that's going on. The music is really dramatic at times, but really good at the same time. And the overall, just the environments are gorgeous. And the only like one nitpick that I'll say is that I do see some like not clipping, but pop in. I see some pop in every now and then.
Okay.
When it comes to like, I think it's mostly because it's like, I think this might be like a lighting glitch or something, because every time like I'm going to like the environment, I'm looking around towards the outskirts, I do see like a little bit of light pop in and stuff like that, or texture pop in or something. So but other than that, it's a gorgeous game, and it's beautiful to look at and play, and I'm just looking forward to playing more, man. So it's so far so good on my radar. It's definitely impressing me.
Let me ask, do you expect this to be a Game of the Year contender?
I think it's too early to tell, really,
Yeah.
because when it comes to JRPGs, at least, like it really is about the adventure. It's not totally. It's not like totally about its end result or like what impression it's making. But I think what it's doing, it's is doing a lot of the things that JRPGs had tropes for. As far as like maybe like saving at a save point, like here you could save in Tales of Rise, you could save anywhere. When it comes to tracking side quests, is a lot easier in Tales of Arise than you would find in some other JRPGs.
A lot accessible, yeah. A lot more.
Yeah, exactly. It's more accessible in that sense. I say before that it has its JRPG tropes, as far as like the guy has amnesia or something like
it's
that.
Very anime.
Yeah, but at the same time, like it's not cringy. It's acceptable and it's fun if you just roll with it and then you're good to go. But at the same time, you're not gonna like hate it. It's actually very approachable and it's fun. So as far as being game of the year contender, I think it's a little too early for me to say that really. But I think it has potential. Like I can feel it building up, and I'm really excited. I love what I'm playing.
Yeah. Because my line of thinking is that like. I don't know, because I feel like the Game Awards is kind of weird whenever it comes to like nominating like Japanese games for Game of the Year, because like I feel like not enough people actually play them. But like I don't know, like I'm seeing like the way that people talk about this game and like the reviews, and it's making me think that this could be like the Persona 5 of for this year.
I absolutely think that, yeah. Like 100%, I think it definitely can make those strides for sure. Just because the characters are so grounded and well voice acted, and again the entire presentation is there. It's set. The only reason why like I would have like a little hesitation like it's like the greatest JRPG of all time, whatever the case may be, is because I feel like that gold standard belongs to Final Fantasy VII Remake. When it comes to its presentation, when it comes to voice acting, when it comes to gameplay, like it has a whole 9 yards and it's all there. This is just a different kind of JRPG that needs to unfold a little more in order to like really see it into like that grand scope of like this is like a great blueprint for JRPGs going forward.
Yeah, for
But
sure.
so far so good, and I love it, and so I highly recommend it so far. So
Cool. Well, what about you, man? What you been playing?
I have been playing the game of life because I haven't been playing any video games this week. I have been very, very, very slow on that. After last podcast, I played a little bit of Catherine, but after that, I haven't really played anything this week. More reading and just more like on the orientations and all that about the job, but not really like the time I've had to play, I chose to just do more life stuff. Today, though, I already started downloading it. I will be playing Tales of Arise as soon as it downloads after the podcast. So I'll be diving into that until the foreseeable future. But honestly, I've been in that lull that Macho mentioned at the start of his when he mentioned the games. I don't know how to describe it. I have been just I'm not feeling it. I'm not like Returnal. I left it at the last biome. I haven't gone back to that. Resident
You
Evil
haven't
3.
finished it?
I haven't finished Returnal. Because the last time I played it, I acknowledge that it's a game that I have to be in the mindset for. Because if not, I'm gonna be very, very heated, very, very quick. Resident Evil 3, I re-downloaded Macho, like I remember him telling me like if I haven't finished it, like I should definitely finish it, and I have that to play later. I feel like that I'll pick a day and I'll like not speed run through it, but I'll beat it in like a day or two. And honestly, I don't know. I've been mostly just gathering all the games that I want to like focus on in the next few months because I have a backlog that it's not super massive, but it does have games that for the longest time I really, really wanted to play. I just haven't. I don't know. I haven't felt. I don't know. I haven't felt it. And even Life is Strange: True Colors came out, but in my mind, I wanted to buy that if the remaster collection was available already. And I'm not gonna spend the $80 now. I might just buy the base game, but the only way for you to get the remastered, I believe, is through the Ultimate Edition, or can you get that separately? I
I
don't
think you can get it
remember.
separately, but I'm actually surprised. I thought you were gonna pick up Life is Strange: True Colors. You're really excited about that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I still am, but like the next month at least. So thank God Saturdays won't be affected, but for the next month, I'm gonna be like up until midnight. I'm gonna be like training for this next job. So like I'll be somewhat busy, and the time that I have for me will be more for like doing assignments for school and whatnot. But the little moments I'll have, I will be either playing Tales of Arise or a little bit of Catherine. But who knows? Maybe after this podcast, I would just go hell and I download Life is Strange because I just need to break the ice. That's the thing with me. Like I might feel like I don't want to play the game, and once I start, like literally the introduction, I can't stop. Maybe that's just me restraining myself because I know I won't stop. But yeah, man, not really anything this week. But I will be playing Tales of Arise for the next following week. So yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah. So, yeah, that definitely sounds like what kind of happened to me before I found out Dragon's Dogma. Yeah, it really only takes that one game to kind of break that ice, like you said.
Exactly.
But yeah, man, let's get into the podcast proper, man. So yeah, PlayStation had a big week. So before we actually get into the PlayStation showcase, let's talk about PlayStation made a acquisition last week, or was it this week or last week?
No, it's the past week. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, PlayStation announced that it was actually the day before the event that they announced that they have acquired Firesprite, that they will be joining PlayStation Studios. So this team is based out of Liverpool, and this is actually what's funny is that this is actually a team made up of former I believe Sony Liverpool devs, or like the founders or whatever. So the guys who are responsible for Wipeout, that studio originally got shuttered in 2012, I believe. So it's funny. It's funny how life just works out that way. That everything just loops back around. Now they're back underneath Sony. Um, and I don't know about you guys, but I had actually never really. I'm not familiar with this studio and never heard of them before, like prior to this acquisition. But they're actually like one of the biggest studios in the UK. They're like over 250 employees at this point. And then we also found out that they're working on not only I think they said like a quote unquote game changing multiplayer project, as well as a single player, like a dark single player, branching narrative adventure. So yeah, wanted to get your guys' thoughts on Firesprite being the latest addition to the PlayStation Studios family. And what do you guys think that they could bring to the portfolio?
I'm not familiar with this studio, I'll admit. So this was kind of like out of left field. But I saw it and I immediately thought like, oh, Sony has money. I thought they were broke boys.
Oh man.
No, it's yeah. I mean, hopefully we'll see something cool coming out of this too. It might be something related to PSVR 2, which obviously PlayStation is going to be pushing out
Yeah, that
even
too.
further.
Yeah.
So it could be something on that. But I think one of the IPs that they were talking about was a first-person shooter, and it was something else, right? Like an action adventure. Third person
Macho,
game. It
Macho,
mentioned in the blog.
Macho. Whoa! I'm about to get his ass. Macho,
What?
Stop! I'm holding you. I'm holding you.
where you been, man? I just said it.
Oh, did you? My bad.
Nah, you're good. You're
I was
good.
definitely,
So,
Stop, Jay. Stop.
I was definitely looking at 14. I was definitely looking at Final Fantasy 14, and I was like, "Where is my equipment at?"
nah,
I'm
you're
not gonna
good.
lie, dude. My heart just dropped. And I saw like my equipment go away,
You're
and I was
good. You're
like, "Where
good.
the fuck is it?"
No. Okay, so they said
Yeah.
that they're working on a game-changing multiplayer project. I actually don't know if it is an FPS or not. And then the second is a dark single-player, branching narrative adventure. So they have those two things are
Hmm.
currently in the works right now. So
Nice.
yeah,
Okay, cool.
yeah,
Yeah, something to look forward to then. Uh, I mean, we'll see when these actually come out.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, with the I don't forgot when they mentioned it, but when they mentioned that they were going to focus more on PSVR later in the future, and the PSVR 2 might eventually come for the PS5. Maybe this is Sony getting ready for that inevitable moment where it's like, all right, do we have games to like complement the announcement of PSVR 2? Which I feel this is going to take a little bit of time, or maybe not. Maybe there's some projects that we don't know about. It's like, oh, out of left field. The multiplayer, if in a perfect world where VR is incredibly intuitive and non-obstructive, and it's not annoying to like use, and motion sickness is not a huge deal, I would completely be down for a multiplayer first-person shooter that is VR and dark brand, dark what is dark story, like branching narrative, where it's also VR and it's like, I don't know, like a horror game,
None of
or just
these,
a dark game.
and like just to be clear, like none of these two projects like say anything about VR. And like
But
you,
that's the thing. It's not going to set the expectations. But I mean, in my mind, in a perfect world where VR is not as like a controversial thing as it is, I would very much be down for more alternatives in the VR, like just spectrum of games. Because right now, if like with Firesprite, I didn't know about the studio prior to the acquisition. Now that I see what they've done, it's like, oh, maybe they just need more consultation on how to like make VR games, like Sony, I mean, and they have this company that now focuses on it. It doesn't say VR specifically, but if in that alternate universe, I would wish for it to be a VR. But in this case, it sounds the premise for the second one, the dark story branching paths, in my mind, it's like, well, that could be so many cool things, but at the same time, that could be so many just bombs, you know. The multiplayer game, I don't really care for first-person multiplayer. If it does well, it does well. What was the you mentioned multiplayer? There's a VR multiplayer game. What's it called? Fire Team or something. It's a military shooter that's VR. I don't know. It came out a few years ago, but I don't know.
man,
Hopefully
you're really
enjoy
hanging your hat.
things.
You're really hanging your hat on this VR. Like I think this team, like since it is like so big that like they can be that sort of like they can do like a multitude of things. So like yeah, like
They could, yeah,
I
for sure.
definitely expect them to do VR in conjunction with these other two projects. Like Herman Holst in the blog post
Absolutely.
like literally says that like we didn't get this team just to do VR. So like yeah, I
Absolutely,
think
yeah.
like they have those two projects, and then they are also big enough where they can also do like something on the side for like a smaller VR project or whatever the case may be. But yeah, I think this
Right.
team, because of
Maybe
their
I'm just
size, they can be versatile enough to do a multitude of
multiple
different
things.
projects. Yeah.
Maybe I'm just sour with how VR has been lately. That the fact that I want an excuse to get VR because it's such a cool concept, and in my mind I'm like, oh, I hope this is their project redeems VR for me. I guess that's just me projecting. I don't know, man. I'm hurt, but hey, hopefully they do some great multiple things. I mean, with how big it is,
Yeah.
but great for
Um,
Fire Sprite, I guess, if they like it.
Yeah, for sure. And Mahmood, so actually this that the team that made the getaway, they're no longer around. They were I think they were called like Team Soho or something like that. But yeah, so and I think like many of those devs are like now working at PlayStation London studio now, which my theory is that they're working on a getaway revival, but like as we'll find out later, man. I predicted that was gonna be revealed at this show, and that did not happen.
I don't think any of us are right.
Yeah, yeah.
I
It
don't think
turns
any of us
out,
got anything
turns
right.
out, turns out, not a lot happened. So, so we'll get into it. But yeah, man. So I think that pretty much does it for Firespurt. I'm excited to see what they can bring to the table, man. I was looking at
For sure,
like
for sure.
a lot of the devs, like seeing their excitement, and like a lot of them are like former PlayStation devs. Like there's this one guy who He's a narrative designer, I believe, at Firesprite, and he was previously at Naughty Dog. And he was like, he was like, man, I just left Sony, and now I'm back at PlayStation Studios, man. It feels good, or something along those lines. And yeah, it's just fun. It's just funny how things like that turn out. But yeah, man, that's
Yeah,
Firesprite.
it's just Twitter is something else, man, with all that stuff.
Yeah,
Honestly.
all right, man. So let's get into the meat of the show. Let's talk about the PlayStation Showcase. Happened on Thursday, 40 minutes long. We got a ton of announcements, a few major surprises peppered in. Um, Guys, give me surface level. Like, where did you guys, once the show ended, what was like your immediate reaction?
Good question. After the show ended, uh, I felt fulfilled. Is that a valid sentiment? I felt surprised, and here's, man. For me, it's so hard for me to like when it's about games for me to be like disappointed because I just go with little to no expectations. Then like I almost always come out the other side just being super happy. In this case, I do similar to what you do in terms of like as long as I get this amount of things out of it, I'm good. I'm always like in the realm of at least two things because there's only today nowadays I don't play like a multitude of games. I just play like very specific games. So in this case, man, dude, there were a couple of highlights for me. One of them, considering it's one of the biggest announcements, it I didn't feel like like I was excited, but I felt so satisfied with what we got. But surface level, that's what I felt.
What about you, Macho?
What about you, Macho?
Um, like right from right from the gut, underwhelmed, and it's that's why I wanted to mull on it because as soon as I did my reaction, I even said like I'm feeling a little underwhelmed. I thought it was a great show, but I feel like it missed the mark on a couple of things that could have been like really like home run hitter announcements. But overall, the more I thought about it, the more I start to like it. And when I frame it in like this in one sort of scenario that I'll explain a little later, then yeah, I think it's a great show. I thought it did really well.
Um, yeah. So let's. I guess we can get into like the details now. For me, this show was like it was good, not great, right? Like I think the PS5 reveal event in June last year was better to me. Um, so for for me, this show started really strong, man. With Kotar, man, I was losing my mind, man, because I really love that game. Um, so yeah, that one was like what a way to start a show, man. Like, I was out chills, man. That when that music played too, god damn, that was like straight up chills. Um,
And a console launch exclusive too.
yeah, it's actually being published by PlayStation. I would have never imagined that, which
Yeah,
is pretty
that's
crazy.
that's that was super surprising. I'm not gonna lie, that was a
Yeah.
great reveal.
And like you knew it immediately once it said Sony Interactive Entertainment. Like that was like the first indication that PlayStation is publishing this bad boy. Also, I want to say to people watching right now, man, I'm playing I'm playing Mass Effect 2 on Insanity. All right, so that's why I'm dying so much. So I don't want to hear anything, man. So leave me alone, man. But yeah, so it started really strong with Kotar. I loved that Project Eve game. I think that came immediately next. And then Tiny Tina, whatever whatever that thing was, it followed
The
that.
D&D thing.
Yeah, I didn't care about that. But then after
Oh
Tiny
yeah, are
Tina,
we? Well, first, do you want to like go through each game that was revealed and then talk about it, or do you just want to say like our highlights?
I'm still
You want to
giving like my broad like kind of like reaction or whatever.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
My
yeah.
bad.
So Kotar, then Project Eve, and then I didn't care for Tiny Tina, but then Forspoken came after that. So I was like, okay, I'm feeling really good. Like that to me, like those three games within that 4 game window was like really really strong. But then after Forspoken, man, there was nothing for me, man. After Forspoken, yeah, I was like. I was checked out, man. Like it was just like again, like over and over and over again. It was just like things I did not care about. So like for me, it was like yeah, it was Kotar, Forspoken, and Project Eve, and then like the last segment of this show where we got like PlayStation Studios back to back to back to back. Uh, that was the show for me, but like that entire middle just like did nothing for me. So that's why I say like this show was like good, not great. Like I think I told you guys in the DM, I forgot what grade. I think I gave it like a B. Honestly, like it's probably like a C plus to like a B minus. Again, it's good. I loved a lot that was there, but it doesn't transcend like obviously it doesn't transcend like the Sony E3 2016 show or
Yeah, for
Okay, yeah,
sure.
well then I'll chime in there with there too. Is that when I was like thinking back on kind of just this show and what made other shows like really stand out, really great. A lot of what I can pinpoint is like maybe 3 or 4 reveals, the most two. And obviously, like the 2016 show was iconic because I think that's the show we got Horizon Zero Dawn as well, right?
not the reveal, but it was the second trailer.
Right, yeah. So we got yeah, okay. Then we got that, and then I think Spider Man was also in there.
Yep.
I want to say, and then
Yes.
God of War.
It was all right, 2016. So it was Death Stranding, Detroit Become Human, The Last Guardian's release date, God of War, Spider-Man, Days Gone's reveal, Resident Evil 7's reveal, right? When that was the first time that they did the whole evil and then the Roman numerals in the name, right? And everyone was
Yeah,
losing their minds at that. The Crash Bandicoot, I think remastered Insane Trilogy tease we got at that show as well. Um, yeah, that was like top to bottom. That show was fucking stacked.
yeah, yeah. So that stuff was just like incredible and full of incredible reveals. And then the other show that comes to mind, I think it's a 2013 show where I just remembered them
Yeah,
taking Final Fantasy Versus 13 and turning it into 15, fucking blowing my mind, and then at the same time revealing Kingdom Hearts 3
yeah.
after so long. Like those are like the announcements like I remember so much and like what stood out and what made those shows just so much fun. And I'm looking back on this one at the same time I'm looking like man like there's parts of it that are really great, parts of it that are really slow, and I just like I did not want to see at all. But then you get to the later half, and you're like, "Fuck, man! They did it. They
Yeah.
pulled the ace card. They absolutely blew people's minds with a couple of those reveals."
Also, what? Let me like give me my flowers, man. What did I say? I told you guys they were gonna show Deathloop again. They had to. It's their big fall exclusive. They had to give that one more like final push on like on their biggest stage of the year to remind people that like, hey, this is our big fall title. Of course, they were gonna show that again. I don't,
No,
obviously
they didn't need to
I'm
be reminded. No one needs to be reminded that it was coming out, man. If anything, Kina needed a trailer in that
Hey,
showcase more than Deathloop.
I agree, man. But I'm just saying, man. I was fully expecting it to be there, and yeah. Um, so yeah, I think for me, man, like, and I don't even necessarily like blame the show for it, but like I will totally admit that like yeah, I usually don't let this happen, but I definitely let myself get swept up in the hype. Right, because
Yep, same.
because Jaffe was running his mouth, right, and then we had this whole thing about I think maybe a week before the showcase got announced, right? We had rumors of Sly Cooper, Wipeout, the same guy saying that he's hearing things about Infamous. Um, And then people are throwing around things of like Resistance Remaster coming out, and like
I know, freaking quote tweeting Insomniac celebrating Resistance 3 or whatever with the emoji eyes and shit. I was just like, come on, man. Stop it.
So like foolishly, like I let myself get swept up in some of that stuff, and you know, and obviously, like I knew, like you know, for whenever you let that happen, you have to deal with, like, you have to be aware of, like, there will be consequences for that, for letting yourself get swept up in that kind of stuff.
Yep.
And yeah, so again, like that's not even you know, me blaming the show. Like that's 100% on me for allowing myself to you know, get swept up in that stuff. But at the same time, there was like omissions from the show that I thought were slam dunks. Like for instance, Factions 2, I was 100% like, and Horizon. I was like, Horizon, God of War, and Factions 2 are shoo-ins for this show. Like I was so confident in those things being there. I'm a little bit shocked that like Horizon wasn't there. And Factions 2, I'm like doubly shocked it wasn't there. Specifically Horizon, right? Because my thing is that, like, okay, like we got the release date you know, revealed at Gamescom. Why not save that for the PlayStation Showcase? It was only like a couple weeks later. So like, yeah, I'm like even though it wasn't the most exciting thing, cuz like we didn't get any gameplay from that announcement, but still, like, just, you know, a quick little message like, hey, like, here's the release date for Horizon Forbidden West. That's still like an exciting thing to have on your own show. So like, I don't know. I see, like, those two things not being there was like really weird to me.
Yeah, that, absolutely. I thought Last of Us 2 Factions was... I was so confident I was going to be there. And for it to not be there, it's just so surprising, especially when Insomniac is just blowing every other PlayStation developer out of the water right now in terms of content rollout.
Yeah.
I have no idea what's going on behind the doors at Naughty Dog, but I just don't know what's going on.
I'm not gonna be like,
it's been a year. It's been like a year and some change since The Last of Us 2.
I mean, I'm not gonna, you know, be like worried and say like hey, like what's going on with Naughty Dog? Like I'm not gonna
no, me neither. Yeah,
I'm not gonna do that, because like if we look back, like Insomniac, well, we know Insomniac has two teams. Like we know they have a North Carolina studio, and Naughty Dog is just Naughty Dog by themselves, right? They're only that one studio. But like if you look back, man, like Insomniac has always been doing this. Like you look at the sheer like volume that they released Ratchet and Clank during like the Future era, right? Like if like Ratchet and Clank was coming out like either every year or every other year, and then they were doing Resistance at the same time, right? So it was literally like 1 year you were getting Ratchet and Clank Tools of Destruction. The next year you were getting Resistance. The year after that you were getting Ratchet and Clank Quest for Booty. Next year you're getting Resistance 2, right? So like Insomniac has been like this for the longest time, man. So I'm
yeah,
not.
That's true, but the thing is, like, making games got more complicated.
Yeah, true.
So you would assume that they would fall under that same predicament where they need a little longer to work on, really fine tune those games, because they're all of them are gorgeous, but somehow some way they still kept that workflow, and it's incredible, honestly. Like I still can't put into words of like how they're doing this.
Yeah, I'm not trying to downplay it. I'm just saying that, like, yeah, like they've been workhorses like since even the early Ratchet games, man. But yeah, again, like I'm not gonna be like like, even though I was surprised that Factions 2 wasn't there, like, you know, I'm still gonna be a proponent to be like, hey, like, take your time, you know, show it to us when you're ready, et cetera, et cetera. But yeah, I was totally expecting it to be there, but yeah, I don't know, man.
I mean, I enjoy listening to the negatives because I don't have many. Because again, I try to be very optimistic about most things. When I'm not, it's because they simmered in me for a while, and I just have to blow up. But with this, honestly, the moments that I was like, this ain't for me, I immediately would go for the, oh wait, but like someone's enjoying this right now. Like someone would enjoy the announcements that I didn't. And in my mind, it's like, yeah, that makes sense. It's a nice balance of things for everyone. Because if everything clicked for me, it's like fantastic. It's a high that I'll ride until like the games come out. But if it's not all for me, the only way that I can like justify me not getting like underwhelmed, it's by saying like, oh, yeah, it's not for me because it's for someone else. So like, I don't know. I guys, I promise I'm not boring. I try to like be very like talk shit and whatever, but right now it's like I'm very my predictions, as much as I was hoping for anything related to Bloodborne, in my mind it's like, oh yeah, I mean, in hindsight it's like, yeah. Yeah, I mean, what else did I expect? My heart said please, but my mind was like, yeah, logically nothing's gonna be announced. So like,
the thing is, like, even I was expecting at least a Bloodborne update or something, if not like a remaster. And the reason why is because it falls again on sort of like the layered problem of like PlayStation responding to certain things, where like they're not stupid. They know people want a Bloodborne update at least, right? But they're not even like administering to that. They're not even answering the call. They're not like hitting up Front Software. At least it's so it seems. So like, again, there's so many exceptions going under that, but like at the same time,
Yeah, that's
like,
what I'm saying.
Are they even listening?
That's what I'm saying.
know?
We don't know what's happening. Like, what if From is just like too busy? At the same time, nothing has happened with the Bloodborne IP for what, 6 years. So I don't know why people keep expecting like something to happen, man. Like I don't. I think
it's because it's huge. It's a blown up franchise. Like, people love Bloodborne.
But it's been huge. It's been huge since like 2016, 2017, 2018. Like every year since it's come out. And like the fact, the fact that it's still like nothing has happened with it. Like I don't know why people. It's it's literally like the fucking, what's the story? The Boy Who Cried Wolf. like after each and every one of these events, people keep expecting something Bloodborne related to happen, and then nothing happens, and then the next year they expect something, and like they go through the same like cycle of like disappointment. Like I really don't understand. Like, yeah, I would love for something to happen with Bloodborne, man, but it's been 6 years, so like I don't know, man. I really don't know.
You can insert the meme of the it's been 84 years.
But I was going to ask Macho. I want you to get on this podcast, and I want you to tell me to my face that you enjoyed that Ghostwire Tokyo trailer.
Oh, I did. I thought it was great.
Oh, come on.
I loved it. I love that trailer. I don't know what you guys got against Ghostwire Tokyo at this point, especially with that trailer. Like, to me, it's like a Neo Tokyo BioShock, and I'm down for that. It looks pretty good. I know that game kind of went through like the shitter as far as like its development cycle. But at the same time, like, I was really feeling what they were doing with like the powers and like the aesthetic.
Hey.
I love the way the ghosts look too. So like, I thought it looked good.
Give me that high five, Macho. Give me that high five.
The cap on this app, man.
Listen, man.
No. Okay, so like,
that's good.
So like aesthetically, like, and the horror elements looks rad as hell, man. I love how
the yokai look great. Like, the monsters look great.
I love like how a lot of it looks like aesthetically, but man, that gameplay is doing nothing for me. It's just like it just feels like, and this is part of the reason why I hate CGI trailers so much. Like, I'll give it a pass when it's like for the announcement of the game, because obviously like you're announcing a game, so obviously there's probably nothing in terms of like gameplay to really sink your teeth into or show to the public, right? Like, the game's not in a state to show to the public when you're announcing something like that. That's why I'm usually okay with CGI trailers when it's for an announcement. But like, when I have an issue with CGI trailers, it's when it's not representative of the game like at all. Like that Midnight Sun trailer, like like people were expecting that was going to be like, you know, like a Insomniac Spider-Man, you know, kind of like action adventure kind of thing, and then come to find out it's like a car-based, you know, strategy game or whatever. And I felt
I've never been so disappointed in my life.
yeah, and I kind of have like a similar feeling towards Ghostwire Tokyo, where it was like obviously it was like a third person, like running around, parkouring. You had like the bow and arrow, right? The guy with like the hood, I believe. And then just and then you just come into like the latest trailer, and it's just like your fingers just like moving around like fucking like Mr. Miyagi, and I'm like man, like I'm not like gameplay wise, I'm just like there's nothing in this for me, man. It just does not look that fun.
I disagree. I think it has some potential in there, but like I would like a more of a gameplay breakdown. But the thing is, again, I'll highlight this again. The thing that's really selling me on Ghostwire Tokyo right now is its aesthetics. It looks really visually pleasing, and I think like I say, the designs of the yokai and just the ghosts in general would look really cool. I'm kind of down to see like what else they can do with that. As far as like the story or anything like that, I can honestly give two shits less at this point.
Yeah.
But it's really coming down to just like the style of it and it being like a really cool like alternate version of BioShock, but with just demons and ghosts. Like it looks pretty cool. I want to see more of it at least.
And that was the big selling point. And again, I would like also like a breakdown of the gameplay, and we'll eventually get that. But right now, same as Imacho, as soon as I started seeing like the different kind of like demons that they were like fighting, and the it's so folklore like forward. Like you see these things, and it's like I can see it being based off like an actual like demon like from Japanese folklore. So like in my mind, I'm intrigued about like knowing the why is this, and that's a big thing for me. If there's a question, I'm more interested, and in my mind it's like what's going on, because the trailer in my mind it's like I can kind of see what the story is gonna be, sorry, it's gonna be, but it still leaves questions of like why is this person with the mask like doing what it's doing, like who are you as the protagonist, like is that someone you like, is that your sister, is that your beloved one, like your mom, that's in the hospital bed. Like what's going on? Why are these yokai? Is this even real? Is this a simulation? Like in my mind, it's like what is this? What is going on? And aesthetically, again, there was a specific monster that it was like on four legs, on its hind legs, and it was like the face of a demon woman and like long hair. And in my mind, I immediately went to like Yami Shibai, like Japanese scary story kind of thing. And I love it. There's literally a manga called Mieriko-chan, which is literally, the story is legit a girl that can see ghosts and she's trying to ignore them, and that's literally it. It's her day to day trying to ignore these ghosts. There's no real story. It's just the idea of these different kinds of demons around her. So in my mind, the aesthetics, I'm immediately sold and intrigued, at least in terms of me following this game's progress. But I definitely see what Soul's saying, what you're saying, Soul, and it definitely comes off as a game that's very hit or miss. It's the definition of a hit or miss when it's being shown. Because the gameplay, I admit, it does look odd because it's shown in short bursts. It's not broken down. And in my mind, it's like, is it a free roam world? Is it by missions? Is it just like a wave game where you're like thrown in a little area and you're fighting demons until they're dead and then you move to the next area? Like what's going on? You know, like I don't know what's going on. But aesthetically, yeah, that's what's keeping me going. And that's one of my predictions. So that's a point for me. Yay.
Yeah, that's. I have a soft spot really just for kind of Japanese folklore horror as well. So like I love Hisako from Killer Instinct, and same thing, the Fatal Frame series. Well, I haven't really played them.
Ooh.
I loved I watched more like on like YouTube because I wasn't able to play them. So but even then, like I still like love just like kind of like the aesthetic and everything. So like this is just kind of like filling that guilty pleasure for me as well.
Absolutely, yeah. But Soul, sorry, this is 2-1. The majority here likes the game, so that means everyone's buying the game. No, I'm kidding. If you don't like it,
I was about to say, man, y'all can't convince you can't say anything to convince me to play that game.
no, because the game has to do it. If the game eventually is broken down, and it's like it hits with you, then that's dependent on the game. Like we can't do anything about it.
Even if I was stranded on an island and that was the only game that I could play, I would not play that.
You wouldn't? Yeah.
That's cap. Now that is cap.
I would go.
You'd be looking at seagulls and you'd be like, man, should I really play it? I'll play it.
Nah, I'm
the cap.
I'm gonna go out on a hunt instead, man. I ain't playing that. I'm gonna go sharpen.
For some demons.
I'm gonna sharpen my spear. Go out and get a tiger or something, man.
Yeah. Playing Rust.
I ain't playing that. Yeah. So that was Ghostwire Tokyo. Let's get into actually. What is there anything else from the show you guys want to touch on before we get into the heavy hitters at the end?
Forspoken.
Yeah, go ahead.
Forspoken, yeah.
Forspoken, man, it's oh my gosh, this game, man. Square Enix, you doing your thing, buddy. You doing your thing. Yeah. So this is from Lunas Productions, which is like I believe it's the same studio that did Final Fantasy 15, which is a factor to why it looks so familiar. Yeah. So it looks like they're really just kind of refining their touch on like those particle effects and just overall just the way you use magic and how that interacts with the world and with each other too. I thought that was like a very cool way they did that in 15. How magic was also kind of just like this element that can not only hurt your enemies but hurt you as well and have an effect on the environment. And this looks like it's going to be doing the same, but with a new IP with a premise that looks like it's like a regular sort of present day woman that gets transported to like this fantasy world, and
yeah, she gets isekai'd.
Yeah, I'm kind of like in love with like that whole simple storyline, but they're doing it in their own unique and really cool way with like the aesthetic and how things really look and the character design, stuff like that. So this trailer just did even more for me as far as what they're doing with it. The reveal trailer is already sort of like amazing me with like the fluidity and the motion of how she just traversed everywhere, and now we got a little bit of combat in there. And dude, this is gonna be awesome. I was very surprised to see that it was a spring 2022 game.
Yeah, a few things. The platforming I really enjoyed because they showed like actual platforming, like on the side of the cliff where she was jumping and grappling and she was double jumping and all that. I really enjoyed that. And now I wonder if it's going to be somewhat linear or if you'll have like big spaces where you can free roam and do like little quests or whatever. I'm not sure how they're going to structure the mission or objective kind of thing. The attacks and the moves and the whole like magic, what's going on, it's some of the more unique that I've seen in a video game, because it's like a blend of as if like imagine a sci-fi world where you have control of magic. It gave me a lot of like Phantasy Star vibes, the way that the magic was like portrayed, and the only gripe I had with the whole trailer was the characters that were shown. They looked like just a little bit slower quality compared to the rest of the show, of like the world and the moves. They looked a bit too robotic. Not terribly so, like Horizon when it first came out, but it looked. It took me out for a moment, but then I went back in when like I started hearing like just the nonsense words of like he's the strongest Satar or whatever the heck. I'm like, oh my god, there's lore. I don't like, and I went back in to like trying to figure out what's going on the screen. The big highlight in terms of the moveset and what really sold me on wanting to really dive into the gameplay so far, there's a scene where she attacks, she splashes water, and then she hits her fist or her hand, and then it turns into ice. And in my mind, I'm wondering, is that just a move, or can you manipulate? You know, like, can you purposely like decide if you like use a water attack? Can you decide how to like freeze it? You know, I'm really interested. I'm really really intrigued. Forspoken looks really exciting. So far, so far. Um, I Jay, what are your thoughts on it? I don't really know much of what you like expect or like expected from Forspoken when like you first saw that. Oh, yeah, this is Forspoken.
Um, the writing's pretty cringy, which is,
Yes,
It's typical Square Enix, honestly.
very very.
but
But I will say Final Fantasy remake completely obliterated that stereotype. I will just say, Jay,
but
Hey man,
the
hey man.
talent that's attached to this project would make me think otherwise, right? What's it? Gary Whitta's writing this game as well as Amy Hennig. So that was a big shock to to hear her like quipping and commenting on everything and whatnot. So I was definitely taken aback by that. Which isn't necessarily a bad thing, right? Like I'm down for like quips and characters being funny, but I don't know, like just the way it was written was just kind of like, yeah, okay, it was
Yeah, it could have been a trailer thing too, because the
Yeah, in
trailers don't do
trailer
the
form,
best
it
at doing that.
didn't serve its justice. Because sometimes I've had the experience where I see a trailer and I see some cringy ass like one-liners and quips, but then you get to know the character and they grow on you, and those quips they turn into like legit comments. Like in my experience with video games, sometimes that happens, but again, that's me.
And it's like the same feeling I had with the Guardians of the Galaxy trailer, where I was like, okay, someone in a boardroom or these writers definitely thought that this was funny, and it just wasn't.
Add it.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, yeah, that's really like the only negative I have to say about it. I mean, the game looks cool
Okay.
as hell, especially the traversal. Just looks, I'm always down for good, traversal in games. So that was
Heck
definitely
yeah.
cool seeing her just like running atop rooftops and like zip lining across roofs and whatnot. Um, but yeah, I mean, I mean, you guys covered it pretty well. It looks pretty cool. I will be playing this game, unlike Ghostwire Tokyo. So that's that's a
Fortunately,
win.
we won't have to wait long for Forspoken.
Yeah, yeah.
I
Spring.
was not expecting us to get that game. It's like 2020, the early 2023. But the fact that we're getting 2022 in spring of
Spring,
that
yeah.
is it's really cool.
Dude,
Sure.
next year, like already, not with that one, but like just so many games, it's starting to look like such a heavy hitter in just video games in general. But yeah, it looks so far, yeah, it looks like a fun game to play. But other than that, honestly, from everything else that was announced, not a game I'll touch, but I appreciate the what it's based on. New Caledonia, what's the name of that game? Chia or whatever.
Yeah, it's a
That
Chia.
like
Yeah.
to Chia. Um, I don't think I'll be playing it. At least I didn't feel like, oh, it's the game I'll pick up. But I appreciate what they're doing and what it's based on and the location and like I assume there's a lot of like little hints of the culture in the game. So just expressing my appreciation for that game.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I saw that too, and I was like, the art style is really nice, and that'll be probably like a cool streaming game. But like, I'm not touching that.
Yeah. Um. Yeah. So I think that I'm trying to think. Was there anything else? And oh, okay.
I mean, well, what were you gonna say?
Okay, okay. Let me. I don't know if you're gonna mention this game, but if you are, I'm just gonna say how I feel about it real quick, but not even this like describe it. I'm gonna play Project Eve. That's it,
Oh fuck, Project Eve. Yeah, dude.
bro.
Holy crap.
Project Eve. That looks insane. That's in my mind. I'm like, this is Devil May Cry. Like this is just bananas. But yeah, that's it. If we want to touch more upon it, then we will. But go ahead, Jay. What were you gonna say?
Yeah, I think I touched on it earlier. That yeah, that had a really really cool showing. What did you guys what did you guys think about them starting the show with that play has no limits advertisement or commercial or whatever?
Oh, I
Where's the
said
city?
it. I said in my reaction that they're basically making the power move that they're playing chess while other people are playing checkers.
Ooh, I didn't think about that.
That's that the entire time I was thinking that they're moving around the chess pieces and going around the city, see the different like insignias for different games, like or even posters. Like you saw Kratos and Atreus, you could see the Final Fantasy VII logo in there.
Oh, really?
Obviously, Aloy. Yeah, when they're in the white car, I think they're on the street and they're driving. They have a shot on a white building, the Final Fantasy VII insignia.
That's cool.
So, and then
That's
obviously
dope.
Aloy having like her big statue at the end too. So
Then
the entire thing just
Nathan
spoke.
Drake and Chloe as well.
Yep. So the entire thing really just spoke to me on that. Like it's PlayStation doing PlayStation things with their really crazy and weird advertisements, but also that they're playing chess while their competition's playing checkers.
That's funny.
Okay.
Yeah, I was I was definitely like I thought it was immediately a game, and then yeah, I got so excited, man. But the moment I saw I think like I think it was probably once I saw like the Kratos and Atreus portrait, which is also a pretty cool touch, man. That's the basically the box art for Ragnarok, and it's like one of those things that it's like it was under our noses the whole time. Like I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, so let's get into the big guns, man. What do you guys want to talk about first?
I mean, the biggest surprise. Well, actually, both of them were the biggest surprise, weren't they? Spider-Man
Honestly,
2
yeah.
and Wolverine.
I mean,
Yes, sir.
I forget if on the predictions show I said it, but like in my mind at least, I kept beating the drum or convincing myself that it was that Spider-Man. We don't need a Spider-Man 2. Like obviously, Spider-Man 2 was going to happen at some point, but like I kept convincing myself that we didn't need it at this show because like first of all, give Insomniac a rest. But at the same time, I was thinking that way more stuff was going to appear at this show than what ultimately did. So I was like, okay, we could save Spider-Man 2. Like that's a big ace up our sleeve that you can save that for next year's show. But so that's why I was totally coming into this not expecting Spider-Man 2 to be here, but I was definitely pleasantly surprised.
Man, I was losing my shit. You can see me in the
Yeah.
reaction trailer, man. I was just going in because like I did not expect it. And the thing is, I think everybody thought this too when they saw the corner street light and the mystified city street
Yep,
there.
say it.
Everybody thought it was Infamous
God,
when
I
that
literally-
lightning struck the pole.
No lie, I wish I recorded I recorded my reaction, but like when I first saw that, like I literally I like jumped up out of my seat, man, because I was like I saw lightning. I was like, that's Infamous, man. And then you hear like a deep voice too, and it sounded like Cole initially, but then obviously it wasn't, and I got sad.
Yeah.
The chest.
Yeah, what really just like kind of turned the head there was when you saw the Spider-Man logo, and I was like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Hold up. Yeah.
It was- it
for
was
me,
nuts.
it was the setup for a part of being Spider-Man, such a big property, such a big title, such a success for Insomniac and Sony, and just a phenomenal PlayStation exclusive. In your mind, it's like you expect it to be there, but at the same time, if it is, you're gonna be surprised regardless. For me, it was the setup. You see the spider logo, you see him with the Iron Spider, and you're like, whoa, is it gonna be like legit this time?
Yeah,
Like,
you noticed that too, right? He got like the
Yeah.
Iron Spider legs, so either Doc Ock helps him make a new suit, or maybe
Hey,
Iron
man,
Man because the Avengers are
exactly.
in this universe.
And then you see him, but then you see Miles, and I'm like, wait a minute, like they're doing it, like they're including it in the trailer, and in my mind I immediately thought co-op, or just two different like campaigns, or one campaign where you switch between Spider-Man, so they're fighting together, and then they're like, yeah, they're together this time. It's like, oh my god, what is going? So much was going through my head, and then the corner, and then in my mind I immediately thought Lizard. Is it gonna be the Lizard? Like, and I completely did not expect. I did not remember, and I didn't care to think about the last two Spider-Mans and how they were literally hinting at Venom since the first Spider-Man and then in Miles, and they still kept hinting at it. But when I heard the yes and then we will, I thought Tom Hardy, but it's like obviously not Tom Hardy. I just thought Venom, and then boom, it still caught me off guard. It caught me off guard, even though if I would sit down and think about it, it's like the next villain would make sense if it's Venom. But seeing Venom, oh my god, and he doesn't look. I'm so used to seeing Venom in a video game form, just from the skin in Fortnite, because that's the most recent one we have. Because it's just that skin. But seeing him in an actual video game, he looks so menacing. Just that little glimpse of him, he looks so menacing.
No, he looks incredible. Yeah,
I love it. And dude, I'm so hyped. I'm so hyped for that game.
I'm also happy that they went with the low growl, deep Venom voice as well. Because Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite went with like a more high pitched sort of alien sort of voice, and it was cool, but it felt like it was really missing from like the intimidation of Venom. And Venom is really cool in that game. But
Absolutely.
I'm so glad they went with like the 90s sort of version of Venom where it's like a deep growl and like he's someone like you just don't want to fuck with, you know? Like
absolutely. This man, this thing can end your life. And that reminds me of we never touched upon it, but that high-pitched difference, they did it with Green Goblin back in like when in the animated series and like certain games where the Green Goblin was more like haha, like very much like a clown. But in the latest No Way Home trailer, it's just Willem Dafoe, and you're just like, yes, that is Green Goblin. It's that voice, that is the voice that it needs. Just the very like old man, raspy, just like the old wizard in the hut kind of thing. Oh man, great! I love it. Well, that was the biggest surprise. I mean, one of the two, because Wolverine, that might have been the ultimate like unexpected thing in the whole showcase, and unexpected and not in that like I am completely hyped for it, because I'm purposefully stopping myself from getting hyped because I have no idea what the gameplay is going to be like, and that's like important. That's one of the things that made Spider-Man such a phenomenal game, is the traversal, because so many things that the other Spider-Man games failed at was making you feel like you were exploring New York as the like, you know, web swinging like just vigilante and superhero. And in this case, you know, Insomniac just blew it out of the water, and it's so phenomenal just how it feels. And with DualSense, oh my god, it's phenomenal. So I don't know if this is more of a hack and slash Wolverine, mature Wolverine game like Deadpool, or a more, for lack of a better term, like over the shoulder kind of Last of Us kind of thing. I don't know.
Well, I want to ask Jay first before, like on Spider-Man 2 real quick. Did you possibly catch the second villain in that game?
Yeah. So I mean, well, it sounded like Craven. Is that?
Yeah.
Cool.
So,
That was everyone's predictions in that moment. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I think Craven's probably like the easy answer, because like it sounds like Craven, and his bravado from like his lines absolutely is Craven like. But a part of me is kind of hoping for oh god, there's another villain that I had in my head for this one.
The vampire?
Yes,
Morbius?
Morbius, yep. Exactly.
Jared Leto?
No, not Jared Leto. Absolutely not. No, a part of me really hopes that like it's Morbius, but I won't be upset if it's not. But like, yeah, a part of me is like, man, it'd be really cool if they brought in Morbius, and that's what they're talking about with like, I've been looking for like a really good like challenge, and these Spider-Men and this one insane symbiote alien anti-hero is like what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
I wonder if he's the main course or just a recurring villain that you'll be fighting throughout the game. Like, in my mind, if that's Craven's voice, then, or it's the other way around. Maybe Venom is the big bad, and Craven is like the recurring, kind of like with Taskmaster and how you can encounter him throughout the city. I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know. Either way, this game is setting up where Miles Morales and Peter Parker are going to be facing against Venom, and to me, that's cool as fuck.
Yeah, for
That's
sure.
probably one of the
Dude.
coolest things you could ever do.
Dude, all three. This game is the epitome of Puerto Rican. You know why? Because you have all three. You have half Puerto Rican, which already has Taino blood. Half African American, you got African American blood. And then you have Peter, Caucasian. You have all three. You have all three just kicking ass. You have the perfect mixture of culture. I don't know.
Not even, man. We're missing some Asian in there. We got.
Hey man,
Yeah.
hey man. Isn't what's this name? I forgot the dude's name. I'm looking for it now. Continue. What are we gonna talk more about Warrior or more Spider-Man? Jay, any more thoughts?
No, not really. Just yeah, it was a big surprise, man. A pleasant surprise, but yeah, I'm excited. And Macho, I think it's safe to assume that this is seemingly going to be like a darker story. I mean, just having Venom incorporated here, you would have to think so, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Because I mean, with any chance you have Venom in a story, again, not every chance, but there's a good chance when it's like he's brought into like a new fold with something like this game where he's going to be introduced that you're going to get a darker story. I mean, the trailer kind of set that tone already
Yeah, for
with
sure.
like just having like the misty background and kind of like Peter, and it looks like Peter and Miles are kind of like really struggling to like kind of get a grip on what was going on. They're fighting what they can. They're doing it miraculously, right? Because they're Spider-Man.
Yeah.
But at the same time, they're looking to the dark hall, or the dark alleyway with what seems like very much of a hesitation of like what's going on. So I'm hoping like a good Spider-Man story. It always like it bridges on. It mixes the troubles of what Peter's going through and what Spider-Man's going through. So I have no doubt in my mind that this is going to do the exact same thing, and it's going to be a turning point not only for Peter but for Miles.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'm really excited to see like, yeah, where they take those two characters next. But that wasn't the only Insomniac showing at the PlayStation Showcase. Before that, we found out that Insomniac is making a Wolverine game. So like,
It's awesome. It's so awesome.
so obviously, like once we saw, we see the Herman Hulst. He does his little spiel, hyping up PlayStation Studios. We see the PlayStation Studios logo come up. We see Insomniac. Everyone's mind immediately goes to Spider-Man 2, rightfully so. But then you're presented with the inside of a bar, the whole place absolutely decimated, people, just littering the floor, unconscious. One person gets up, takes out a knife, approaches this lone guy sitting at a bar, enjoying a drink, tries to stab the guy. And all you see, you get to zoom in a close-up on the guy's knuckles, bloody knuckles, and then the claws come out. Marvel's Wolverine by Insomniac Games. How big of a surprise was this for you guys?
That was it was insane actually. Like the implications of it and just like what that says about the PlayStation brand in general when it comes to them and Marvel games, like a whole nother conversation. But Insomniac Games making a Wolverine game, like dude, it's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. And they peppered in a lot of really cool Easter eggs in that trailer. Like the license plate that says HLK, I think it's 181 or something like that.
No.
Which a lot of people can assume it's Hulk and issue 181, which is, and I actually looked it up, and it's the issue where Hulk went up against Wolverine.
Sick.
So who knows what it could be just like a nice little Easter egg, and it could have no implication like where they're going on the story, but
Yeah, maybe.
or if this is like a shared universe with Spider-Man. But I'm kind of hoping it's a standalone Wolverine game.
Yeah.
They start setting up their own universe of superheroes, and this is just the beginning. Man, that'd be pretty tight. And, like, but not all working together, just like in its own. Like you hear about what's going on in Manhattan and Spider-Man, but you're not affiliated with it,
Yeah. I mean that's sort of like another big question. Do you think this is possibly the beginning of a Insomniac sort of like shared universe. I mean, they did say that this is like in the blog post that this is a standalone experience. So, and then also in the sort of like in the bar, I forgot what it was exactly. Like maybe it was like a license plate, something along those lines. It had the year 1974 on it. So, just, by that alone, this is happening years before Spider-Man and Spider-Man 2. So,
Well, I think that was alluded to the year that Wolverine was created.
okay. Fair, yeah,
I
fair
think
enough.
that's what it is.
Fair
Let me
enough.
see.
Didn't he? Oh yeah, he did. So this is before. This is before he participated in any big fights. And a part of me, if I'm being honest, a part of me like, as soon as he let the claw out, I for some reason I expected like I don't know like not expected, but I'm so used to seeing like affiliating Wolverine and Sabretooth. Like for some reason I just like I expected for some reason like being Sabretooth being there or something. I started thinking about what villain or what the big challenge will be in this scenario. Like maybe it's not like a major villain, but if it's the case of a Hulk, if it's alluding to the Hulk versus the Wolverine, like the it indicated that issue number, that's a big feat. That's a huge feat for you to try and do something like that. That has to like you have to navigate that really carefully because
Yeah, sorry to interrupt, bro, but I just looked it up. This is something I'm learning the first time too. Is that
what
Wolverine's
up?
first appearance was in 1974, but he
Okay.
actually appeared as a cameo in the Incredible Hulk issue 180, and then a full appearance in 181.
Gotcha.
So his origin is, or like his first appearance essentially is tied to the Incredible Hulk there.
So,
The
so
Hulk.
this, where it sounds like at least, this is going to be like, this isn't going to be like Marvel Spider-Man where like you're 8 years into being Spider-Man already. This seems like it's going to be pretty much like the beginning of this
Starting.
character.
Maybe,
Right.
maybe.
Yeah. So do you guys think that? I mean, obviously this has to be like, yeah. I mean, a Wolverine. Like I'm expecting, something like Logan-ish to be, like gritty, kind of like in your face, like M for mature rating kind of game.
Yes, sir. Give me finishers where he just rips your guts out. Like I want that. I want him to just like pierce this man in the stomach with both his claws and like do like Shark King in the Suicide Squad and just whack, rip him apart. Like that's if they're going full M rated, go all the way, man. Wolverine is such a fierce and like such a vicious character for a hero. He's so villain like. So just make go all the way. That's what I would like to see. Uh,
I agree. I agree.
I don't know Insomniac that well. I didn't play the previous like Ratchet titles and the only Ratchet that I have played. Yeah, I don't know their history with like making M-rated games. If they've made any.
Yeah, they've had
But I
the Persistent games are rated M, and then they've also did Sunset Overdrive, which was rated M as well. So
all right
they're no
then.
stranger to that. And then
No stranger to that.
what's also pretty cool about just Insomniac in general is that yeah, they can bounce between making a Ratchet and Clank or doing Spider-Man, which is rated T, and then going to theoretically a rated M for mature Wolverine
Wolverine, yeah.
game. So yeah,
Dude, I'm all for
I'm
that.
fully expecting that. This is also being headed up by the creative director of Miles Morales,
Mm,
which is pretty cool, Brian Horton. So
So you know
yeah,
it's gonna be good.
yeah, and then at the same time,
absolutely.
that's how you know that this is definitely like just beginning, right? Because that team
Mm-hmm.
just shipped Miles Morales. So yeah, I wouldn't expect this for a while, but nonetheless, it was a really cool little tease. And yeah, that and Kotar, I guess Spider-Man 2 as well were like the bombshells for me.
You know, Kotar, I never ever played uh Kotar back in the day.
Me
I always
neither.
hear
Yeah.
about how it's like one of the best Star Wars games ever made. So similar to how with Dead Space, at least Dead Space I had access to, but with Dead Space you're getting a remake. I'm really, really, really looking forward to this remake, and it's funny how it started on Xbox only, and now it's made its way PS5 only. So far,
Yeah.
it says it's being remade for the PS5, but hey, you know how shit goes sometimes, and they're like, no, it's going to PC too or some shit.
Yeah. Yeah, can we also just like touch on the fact that PlayStation is absolutely just knocking it out of the park when it comes to associating their console or their brand with really beloved other brands, Star
I'm
Wars,
I'm like
Marvel.
I'm okay with it as long as like I don't want like Naughty Dog doing like a Marvel game or like Santa Monica or Sucker Punch, right? Like I just hope that like yeah, like I'm okay with, like like one maybe two at the most doing these licensed properties, but like I just don't want this to bleed over like too much and like a ton of Sony studios. Like I still prefer Sony Studios to be doing, their own, original IPs and whatnot. Because I mean, look at the stats on total view numbers and whatnot. Like God of War is getting more views than Spider-Man 2, right? So like yeah, like I guess my thing is like we don't necessarily need to rely on Marvel or Disney like God of War or Horizon and Uncharted, et cetera, et cetera. They still do fine by themselves.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the brand itself will do fine in and of itself, as long as they keep doing the quality stuff that they've been doing. Because we've had major like franchise tie-ins into like an actual video game, and it's been this complete just bad games. And yeah, I see what you mean. Similar to how if like Naughty Dog were to tackle like I don't know, like yeah, like a Marvel game, and how like Ubisoft is tackling a Star Wars game and Bethesda and Indiana Jones games. Like there's companies that are touching on like beloved franchises that have been established in either TV or movie or a comic or whatever. But I definitely see what you mean in terms of, and that would also detract from then focusing on their original IPs. I feel like they'd have to really divide their time, and hence it would probably take longer for games to come out when it's about like an actual original concept, original game. Um, and it would feel weird. I don't know. It's a very, it's like those things that you like when you try to mix two foods, and it's like this is not meant to exist. It's like sometimes you see like a company, it's like they don't, them making a certain game wouldn't make sense. It just wouldn't. I don't know. But hey, that's me. I'm not.
What about
That's
you,
not
Macho? Like
invested.
do you want more of Sony Studios to be working on like Marvel and like Lucasfilm and established IPs like that?
No.
Okay, okay.
No, not unless it's like it's like the timing has to be right, and I feel like it should be like a sense. It should be a step that makes sense for that studio, not because Marvel wants to push like, or even Disney wants to push all their IPs on like on the best studios that there can be. I think there should be a great fit for like each studio. So if Naughty Dog comes out and they're like, yeah, we're working on like a Doctor Strange game, that's gonna be like, really? That's kind of weird.
Yeah.
Like that feels like that was just like you like PlayStation's going down a list of Marvel IP or Marvel characters, and they're just assigning them by how they want it. But if Naughty Dog comes out to PlayStation, or they have a pitch for like what people have been saying for a Punisher game, and it makes sense, and they want to go with it, then sure, why not let them have at it? But I don't want like every other PlayStation studio to be working on a Disney IP or a Marvel IP or a Star Wars IP. Like I want them to work on stuff that they want to work on, which what we've seen before from interviews that's what they're doing.
Yeah, for sure.
Mind you, Macho, you mentioned Disney IP, Marvel IP, and Star Wars IP, but just by saying Disney IP, you covered all the bases.
Yeah, no, but I mean Disney as far as like
Disney
it's
proper.
like yeah, like as far as like like the Pirates of the Caribbean, right? Or
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
or
Like an OG.
Tron or stuff like that.
Yeah, 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 yeah. I feel you.
So yeah, man. I think that pretty much covers Wolverine and Spider-Man 2.
Yeah.
Let's Really quickly, I mean, I guess we should touch on um, Gran Turismo 7 got a release date for March 8th, 2022. So, literally, we have Sifu, Horizon, and then rolling right into Gran Turismo. So that's a pretty good, like, 3 game, like, little slate within, February into, like, I guess, like, late February into early March. Um, so that's pretty cool. Um,
Mm.
so yeah, the show ended with a pretty extensive look at God of War Ragnarok. What'd you guys
Official
think?
title.
Yeah, yeah, finally got it.
That's the official
What'd you
title.
guys What'd you guys think
Yeah.
about it?
Go for it,
I
Mike.
was I was very surprised at well, it's surprised and then like half not surprised that Corey Barlog wasn't directing this one.
Nah, we knew it, man. We know, or okay, we technically quote unquote don't know it, but it's always been assumed that he's working on something else. He's working on his own original IP. I remember when God of War shipped, I forget. Who he was talking to, but it was like some interview. I think it might have been the BAFTAs, after he after he won like a Game of the Year award there, but he was being interviewed, and I think they were asking him like what comes next for you, and he was like, oh, I don't know. I want to convince Sony to let me make my own thing, and that always stuck with me. And that was years ago, right? So, and then of course, like we've had, little hints here and there, right? Like he made that tweet in January of this year, I believe, or 2020. It might have been 2020, where he was like Eric Williams, like you guys will remember that name. Um, and knowing him, him being a previous director on the series, that kind of like pointed to the fact that like yeah, that guy may be taking over. But yeah,
I
and then
mean, I missed the marks on those then because I did not see that coming.
yeah, but yeah,
But I mean, I not really from the clues, just more like I was sort of like predicting slash guessing that might happen on the fact that God of War did a number on him
yeah, yeah,
personally,
yeah.
that it
Yeah.
just really exhausted him. So like in the back of my mind, I was like, is he really doing God of War Ragnarok? Because I can't imagine like the undertaking like he's going through again. So I feel like he got a little PTSD from working God of War. So
Which
it makes
which
sense why he's doing
apparently
something new.
which apparently and I didn't watch the whole interview, but the new director for this game, he mentioned how every God of War has had that custom of changing directors and like keeping it different. Is that real? Is that like every God of War has had a different director?
Um,
I don't think every God of War, but I assume that the series went through
Corey
multiple
Corey's
directors. Yeah.
Corey's been the only like repeat director. I know
Mm.
Stig, and I don't know how to say his last name, but I know Stig was the creative director on 3. I think he's the director on Fallen Order now. But yeah, like I know, and then obviously Corey was director on 2, and then 2018. I don't know who did Ascension. Eric Williams might have done
Mm.
Ascension. I'm not too sure about that, but yeah, or he might have done the PSP games, but yeah, he's been there. He's been there literally since the beginning, since 2004. So he's definitely had his hand in essentially every single God of War title in some form or capacity. Um, but
Got
yeah,
it. Okay. Yeah, and they did a little bit of I saw they did express how the previous the 2018 God of War really it legit was so very very exhausting and just and there's a forget the name Racing Kratos I think it's called the documentary
Yeah, it's a
where
great documentary.
they go into detail on how like how much like the director goes into like the actual making of the game. I mean, of course, it's the director, but for this game specifically, they essentially reinvented the wheel for this character and just the franchise as a whole, which makes sense. I mean, hey, so far from what, at least from what I saw in the trailer, I don't know y'all, but I don't know much about Norse mythology, uh, but it looks fantastic. Like in terms of gameplay and the fighting, just looks so beautiful, so much fun, so hectic, so energetic, so like there's a lot more that there wasn't in the previous game, I think, or either that or I haven't played it in a while, because there's a lot of moves that I don't remember having like access to in the previous game. So there's a lot more flexibility in that, and I had to look it up afterwards because it was presented as like a big reveal, but when they what's his name, Tyr.
Yeah, the God of War for Norse mythology. Yeah.
Yeah, so is that who he is? That's the God of War for Norse?
That's what I saw, yeah.
Yeah, he is.
Because he is? Well, that is insane. That is like, that I love it. Okay, then that's like much, the irony, the dichotomy of their meeting. Because he is, I don't know if he still is, if he lost his powers or not. Kratos, I don't know the whole thing. I have to refresh on that, on how like his powers really work. If he's still like an actual half human, half god, and half everything else. But yeah, it looked phenomenal. It looks like a much bigger game in terms of like environments. There's a lot more options, and at least from the description of the actual game, you'll have access to all the 9 realms, they'll all be involved at least. So, in some capacity, I guess, whether that be in cutscene or actual gameplay, we'll get to visit all of them. That's a lot of fun. And
I'm excited for the premise of it too. Premise sounds
absolutely
really cool.
And the images that they showed, because we finally got to see, unless we saw that before, but we finally got to see Thor. He looks hilariously menacing. Like he is a dad. That's a drunk. I mean, that's how they painted him, and that's essentially who Thor was. Just a drunk dad that was not very restrictive with his fists. And the last scene, I forgot her name, but I looked up her name when I saw it, and she's supposed to be very important in terms of Loki's storyline. The little girl that showed in the last scene.
Yeah,
but that's the extent of what I know.
That's Angrboda. She's
Angrboda?
Yeah, she's the wife of Loki.
Okay, yeah, then.
Oh, interesting.
That sounds fantastic. That sounds like this game is gonna pack a lot of lore.
I mean, that's the fact that is that this is Ragnarok. Yeah, there's a lot of shit that's gonna happen in this game, presumably. But yeah, so
I do
Loki,
love that it's like an end cap to the Norse mythology with you saying that actually. So like this is gonna be like a duology,
which makes sense if you're titling this game Ragnarok, which is literally the end of literally the realms, right? You can't have another game after that, right? So yeah, like if this was going to be a trilogy, then theoretically you would make the third game called God of War Ragnarok, because Ragnarok is literally the end of all things. So yeah, the fact that that this second game is the end to this saga, it makes complete sense. But at the same time, this being a 2-part story, there's a lot of things that need to be covered, which is game. If this is the ending, so that's exciting within itself. But
I'll be right back.
Yeah. So it's really interesting because Loki and the girl Angrboda, they have 3 children in total, I think. So we've already met one of them, which is the world serpent.
Right.
Yeah, Jormungandr.
Right. Which was very obvious not very obvious. Once you get that, it's very obvious when you see the mural at the end of God of War, where you see Loki, Atreus, it's like barfing or like just giving birth to this serpent through his mouth. Okay, so what are do you know the other 2, or would that be a spoiler for the game?
I mean, it's not a spoiler because this has been around for like thousands of years. So
right. But like now a lot of people are like researching it,
Yeah. So yeah, obviously the world serpent is one of them, and then Fenrir, the giant wolf, is the second kid, and then the third kid is Hela, which you might know her from Thor Ragnarok, that movie. She's like the main villain.
So she's a daughter? She's a daughter? The goddess of death?
Yeah. Of course, Marvel, they twist it around, and they change it from what like
Yeah, they're brothers. They're
and
siblings.
they're siblings, but like no, that's actually like Loki's kid. And
Wow.
in mythology, she's always depicted as like one side, and she's like the goddess of death, and she's like I think she's like I want to say not imprisoned, but like she's been like made to essentially like she can't leave hell essentially, and
Mm.
so in mythology she's always depicted as like one side of her face is like beautiful, right? Like she looks like a normal human, and then the other half of her face is like basically like a like almost like zombie like she like a skeleton, like skin like peeling off of
Oh,
her face. It's really really cool. But yeah,
interesting.
that's the last child of Loki and Angrboda, and so the fact the I don't since we've already met the world serpent, you would have to assume that yeah we are going to meet the other kids of Loki and Angrboda, which would be really really cool. Because Thor and the world serpent need to have their fight. That's one of the big moments that happens in Ragnarok. So we would, yeah, and that's already kind of been alluded to in the 2018 game.
Right.
So yeah, there's a lot of if they are going to follow mythology like to a T, which they've always God of War has always been pretty loose about it. But still, there's a lot of cool moments that happen within Ragnarok that I would love to see. The gods get fucked up, so I would really love to see that as well.
And Ragnarok is again in terms of the actual mythology, because I only know Ragnarok from Surtur and like how he causes Ragnarok, but like, is it an event like from like a cataclysm or something, or is it a being that causes it?
Um, I, I'm not too sure. Yeah, like my familiarity is that like Suitor is the one who essentially like begins it.
Right.
And then what's also interesting is that like the gods all know that Ragnarok is coming. That it's like fate, it's like destined to happen, and there's nothing that they can do to stop it. So
Mm.
that's also like a really interesting kind of and that's kind of like the crux of Odin's characters, that like he spends literally all of his life acquiring all of this knowledge, giving up his eye to figure out a way to stop Ragnarok, to because Ragnarok is literally the end of all the gods. So but yeah, that's pretty much my extent. um I couldn't tell you what other things that cause it, but
Right, right.
yeah,
Okay.
No,
it's
I
I
no, I
mean,
missed
hey,
this. I missed this in the trailer. Are Kratos and Atreus trying to prevent Ragnarok or cause it?
mm, I would have to watch it
Because
again.
I couldn't really like get a sense of it from the trailer, considering that they're like Kratos was like, no, we don't need to start like a war or anything like that, and Atreus
Well,
like, no, we do.
cause like so the sort of, at least what I was able to get from it, the main thing is Atreus like wanting to find out like who he is and who Loki is. So like the whole I guess like mission or the goal is like finding answers, and Kratos was like are you willing to find those answers even if it leads to war? And then Atreus is like, well, maybe that's what like Mother wanted. So like I think that's specifically touching on finding out who Loki is, not necessarily like starting Ragnarok or whatever. But I'm guessing in their like hunt to find out who Loki is specifically, that they get wrapped into Ragnarok whether they like it or not.
Okay,
And then
I'm excited.
there's
I'm
also the
excited.
thing that Loki causes Ragnarok as well. Back to Walt's earlier question. Um,
hmm
yeah, so yeah, I don't know. It's pretty crazy, but yeah, like talk. So let's talk about the trailer a bit, man. I was so it was so cool seeing that shot of like Freya running up to Kratos and taking her sword
Yes.
out and like attacking him. That was such a cool shot, man. And just seeing her again was awesome. And then like you could tell like it's like a really cool like detail, but like the eye paint just kind of like running down on the side of her face, so like you can tell that, oh yeah, she's been crying a lot. That was a nice little
Yeah.
detail.
Mourning her child, her man child, her son. I mean, and I like that they immediately went into. That's how they started, because that's how the first one ended, essentially with her. Like it makes sense that the first time that you see her in this trailer is her fulfilling her promise to Kratos in the first one, and how she will literally rain all kinds of like ill will upon him until he's just gone. You know.
Yeah, I love the like the sort of like the story circle that we experienced like the beginning of that trailer, where in the God of War reveal, 2018 God of War reveal, we had Kratos telling Atreus to
Yeah,
bring him the deer,
yeah.
and this one he's actually bringing the deer by himself, and bucks and all. So it's pretty cool,
And
man.
also, did you notice another kind of like well, I guess two things. So like to your point, Macho, of like the circle. Do you remember in 2018, in the very beginning of the game, where Atreus is like praying or like saying a prayer to his mom, who's like laying on the table, and then the camera turns over and it's like Kratos standing in the door frame, and it's just like his silhouette. Like you don't even see like anything like too specific about his character. It's just a black silhouette of him standing in the doorway. And then I like how in this trailer, like it starts with like kind of like a similar silhouette of like Atreus like walking in, just completely black. Like you don't really see anything too specific about him. So that really reminded me of
Yeah,
that. But then also speaking to that silhouette, you only see like obviously the silhouette, but then like the deer that he's carrying is positioned in such a way that it looks like he's wearing like horns on his head, like Loki is always sort of
I didn't notice
depicted.
that.
Yeah, like he's always depicted of wearing.
Good catch.
Yeah, so that
Damn.
was that was again a really cool little detail that they have in there, which is something that like 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 I'm like an amateur writer, but like that's something that I would never think of like putting in there. Like that's so clever, man. I love that.
Damn. A
Yeah,
lot of cool
I'm
Easter eggs.
super excited for what they're gonna do with this game. And just seeing that trailer made me realize how fun God of War 2018 was, and what they're gonna do for this one, where it's gonna have more verticality. It's probably gonna have different kind of move sets. I'm not sure you're gonna control Atreus the same way, but
Macho, the different move sets, but I've been looking online and people are saying that this is the exact same game as the 2018 game. What's going on?
oh man,
Now,
you're right, man. You're right. Actually, I saw the exact same move he did in 2018. He did a full spin. Even swinging the axe looks exactly the same. I don't
no, man,
understand.
he
Yeah,
got
man.
he
Amateurs.
stepped into the boat the exact same way that he did in the other game. He didn't do a little
Bro, he's talking
twirl.
with the same voice actor. Like, what's up with that?
Yeah.
Like,
But
poor
Fucking
Christopher
amateurs.
Judge
Jeez,
voicing
but,
him.
man.
but whatever, man. I don't want to get into it. I don't want to get into it. But yeah. What
Gets you
what
too
else?
mad. It gets you too mad.
Nah, just because I don't want to give that person like any time,
No,
any
no,
more time on
I
this
know.
podcast. But what else stood out to you guys from this trailer?
Yeah, I mean,
Atreus' moves.
yeah,
That
yeah. I
quick
was gonna
thing.
say that. Yeah.
Atreus, he's leveling up. He went from aviary to a whole elk. This man is ramming. This man has a whole. That's one thing which will we get to see this little boy, like evolve with his like acquisition of animals, and will he be able to like actually morph or he just summon animals as he's been doing? But Macho, what were you gonna say?
No, yeah, it was more just kind of like the like how they're both going to interact with each other. I'm wondering if you still control Atreus, or if he's just AI. Since he's more grown up and he seems more capable, and he seems like he has like his own Like he has his own tools of weapons, including that astral buck he just summoned and started riding.
Yeah.
So like I wonder like how that's really gonna play into everything, or if like he's just AI.
Yeah.
Yeah, because in the first one you could press, I think it was square, and you could like shoot the arrows and like do different move sets with him, but not literally control him, but more of like activating his moves whenever you want it, or something like that, right? Like in the first one.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he's not a boy anymore. You're not training him to fight. You know, he knows what he's doing.
Teen. Now he's a teen. Come here, teen.
He knows what he's doing. But I'm excited for the verticality part of it, where you saw Kratos jump down onto a group of enemies, and then at the same time you saw him throw the Blades of Chaos into it, like a certain, like I guess fixture, and then he pull himself to it. So I'm interested. I want more. I like that there's more of that kind of like level variety, and with that comes with combat variety too. So I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with that and what kind of surprise they're going to throw at you.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think like probably my standout. I love also how like you got to see the Lake of the Nine, and it's completely frozen over because it's Fimbulwinter. I thought that was a really cool touch. So now instead of the boat, you have to use a sled to traverse the Lake of the Nine, which is pretty cool. Obviously, seeing Freya was a highlight for me. And then I think that one segment where like the music like changed the moment like slightly after Kratos gets like eaten by that like giant like lizard salamander thing, and it gets like slammed down. Like that part was really cool, but then like slightly after that, once the music like really starts to like swell, and it's just like a almost like a compilation of just like action moves and like Kratos punching that like that scimitar in the gut. like that whole segment, man, was like so hype. And then Thor, man, what did you guys think about Thor's voice actor?
You seem like a calm and reasonable person.
Dude, I had chills, man. I had chills.
Are you a calm and reasonable person? Yeah. Like, and dude, that's my biggest anticipation of this game. The whole game, I can't wait to get my hands on. But Thor, knowing how absolutely insane Baldur's fight was, just the whole end sequence with him, that's going to be insane. I cannot, and they've already like set up this god to be just the absolute worst, like, of all of them. So I'm so hyped. I'm so hyped.
Also,
and he sounds menacing as hell.
It's like speaking of Thor, like I think we'd be remiss to not talk about the whole controversy about his body and Jesus Christ. Do you guys see what's happening on my screen right now? Okay, never mind. We're good. I had a heart attack. But Jesus Christ, man. Okay, so yeah, we'd be remiss to not talk about the whole Thor and you know how he looks like in the game. My biggest thing is like, did people not play 2018? Like, did they not see the statue erected to Thor? Did they not hear what's his name, Mimir, literally call Thor a fat dauber? Like I don't know. Yeah, I'm surprised. I guess I shouldn't be surprised, but at the same time I'm surprised at the quote unquote backlash or whatever, the reaction.
Yeah, I haven't really followed it, to be honest, because I find it, I don't know, I don't see it as a problem. I really don't. Like, yeah, it's not like, you know, it's not like when I saw like Guile's like a Fortnite version of Guile from Street Fighter 5, you know, where it just doesn't look good. Like this looks like Thor looks awesome, and
opposite to how I felt when I saw like the MCU one. This time I just feel scared. I don't feel like I'm laughing. I'm just,
yeah, dude. Like, Thor is absolutely gonna rock Kratos's fucking head, dude. Like, Kratos is gonna absolutely annihilate it by this guy. Like it's no question. Kratos is absolutely gonna put up a fight, but dude, Thor is gonna absolutely rock his world.
Yeah. He looks like he abuses a lot of people. Which it's been hinted at.
I mean, you thought that Zeus was hot shit. Like Thor is gonna absolutely just take his ass to town.
Yeah, you thought Thunder was bad. This time you're really gonna feel. Yo, what if Kratos like gets hit by lightning and he like gets PTSD from like when he fought Zeus or some shit? Like, dude.
That would be actually pretty dope.
That'd be a lot of character cool. like trauma. I mean, he already has trauma from like when in Helheim he did see like Zeus's visage in the distance formed by the clouds, and if we get to visit Helheim again, I wonder if do y'all know if it was established what happens with the gods once they're dead? Do they go somewhere or they're just dead?
I don't know.
You know?
Yeah,
because that'd be cool if we like get to see like Zeus in hell or something, or like we see like him just rotting or something. It's like, oh my boy, and it's like you're not my father, you're not dead. Like,
no, I have no idea, but yeah, I think Thor's appearance is it's a non-issue. It'll blow over.
Yeah, man.
It's like once the game actually gets more gameplay or more trailers, whatever the case may be, and then people are going up against Thor and be like, damn, this is hard. It's like people are just gonna absolutely shut up.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, man. Chubby Thor.
Yeah. It was.
That's a beer belly, by the way.
It was a great way to close the show. It was a hell of a trailer, man. I really loved that trailer. I was like on the other edge of my seat the entire way through. But yeah, is there anything else you guys want to touch on with God of War, or is that it?
Yeah, no. From the whole showcase, I just have one thing. People just have petty shit to complain about. That's it. It's stupid. Whatever complaints we got. I understand if you didn't like the showcase. That part I get, because that's like your entertainment. But like just pinpointing shit throughout the whole thing, that's like, this shit. It's like, no, shut the fuck up. That's it. Shut the fuck up.
No, yeah, I loved it. I can't wait to play it. And I noticed that it didn't have a release window at the end of it. It didn't even say 2022. I'm not too surprised. Like it was technically like its first big trailer, so. But I mean, then again, Spider-Man 2 had one, so yeah, I don't know.
Wait,
it just shows Spider-Man 2 say 2023, okay. But it just shows that that these companies are still affected by COVID, and PlayStation more so is very very much playing close to the chest on when they give it like a release date.
Yeah, for sure. I mean,
because we literally just got Horizon's release date like last month, and we're like 6-7 months away from the game.
Yeah. And speaking of keeping things close to the chest, man, it's incredible that like the Kotar thing didn't leak, or at least that it was like a PlayStation exclusive, and that it was showing up at the show. Wolverine, more importantly, didn't leak, and Spider-Man 2 didn't leak. That's pretty insane to me.
Yep, both PS5 exclusives as well.
Oh yeah.
Spider-Man 2 and Wolverine on PS5 only, which is like oh my gosh, dude! Like a PS5 exclusive Spider-Man and Wolverine game from Insomniac. Knowing how gorgeous already those games looked on PS4.
Yeah.
I'm stoked, man.
Yeah, we're gonna die. Like literally, we start playing it and we literally like hook it up, hit start, and immediately you hear the soul go. We just die there. That's how good it's gonna be.
Oh man, it's like, I probably shouldn't say this on the podcast, but I'm gonna say it anyway. It reminds me. I saw this video. I think Snoop Dogg might have posted it. This like old man. I think he was like at home or something, and like I guess a family member like bought him like 2 strippers, and like one of them was like giving him like a lap dance, and then like the second one came over to do the same thing, and he started like grabbing onto his chest. he like keeled over. He like just like collapsed. He had like a heart attack.
God damn it, Jake.
That's how I'm imagining. Yeah, that's how I'm imagining Spider-Man
Us
2, man.
playing.
Spider-Man
Yeah,
2.
we
Yeah.
start swinging. We feel the dual sense, and you're just like, and you're like, wait, why is my chest hurting?
That's exactly how it's gonna be. Yep.
Oh
But yeah,
man,
man, God of War was amazing.
yes sir.
I think more than anything for this show, like yeah, I don't even know if like disappointed is like the right word, but like the omissions from
Underwhelmed.
yeah, well, not even underwhelmed, right? Because I got so much in this show that I loved, right? Like I loved obviously Kotar for Spoken, Project Eve,
Yeah, Project
and
E was really cool too.
then those last
Yes
four
sir.
games were great. Um, but I got yeah, it's just the emissions, right? And like and even like Blue Point, right? I wasn't surprised that they weren't there because like people kept saying Blue Point they're gonna be there, they're gonna show off Metal Gear or whatever they're working on. And I was like, guys, like they just came out with Demon Souls, like like not everyone is Insomniac, so that's why I wasn't like I totally was not expecting Blue Point to be here, but at the same time with everyone talking about it, there was still a part of me that was like, okay, but what if they are here, right? So but yeah, to me the biggest thing about this show is that like yeah, there was so much in here that I was excited to see, but this show really represented like man, we only know like such a small fragment of what PlayStation Studios is up to, right? Like yeah, we still don't know what London Studio is doing. We still don't know what that second team at Gorilla is doing. We still don't know what Corey's game is yet. Um, right? Like what's Sucker Punch up to? What's Naughty Dog up to? Right? Like there's obviously Fire Sprite. You know they're working on two projects. We haven't seen Haven Studios game, Firewalk, Deviation. Those three teams that Sony teamed up with. Right? Like we haven't seen what they're up to. Pixel Opus, we know they're working with Sony Pictures. We don't know what they're up to. So I guess my biggest thing is that like sure there's maybe like a little like wanting more from this show, but it's still a good feeling to know that like man, we only saw what Insomniac, Santa Monica, and Polyphony are up to. We still have like 13 other studios I think that they're very clearly working on something, and it's only a matter of time before we finally get to know like what it is that they're all up to, and I think that's pretty exciting.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think I'm in the same boat with you. Where like the omissions, just it felt like that's the part where like I felt like there was something missing. Other than like the really cool announcement, it was back to my point before. Where, like, what do I really remember shows for? And it's really because those three or four, or one or two, or just like or two announcements, at the very least. And I got that with this show, so that's why like I rank it pretty high, and I really enjoyed it. But yeah, man, it's again those home run hitters that really could have just rounded out the entire viewing experience and getting even more excited for PlayStation's future games. And Last of Us 2 Factions was really one of those things I felt like could have just I feel like that could have been really like a home run hitter, honestly. And it's surprising to me they still haven't really see anything about it in the entire time that Last of Us 2 has been released, and since it was announced that Last of Us 2 is going to be just a single player game without its multiplayer.
Yeah.
And yeah, and just yeah, a couple other things too. But I was expecting a couple of surprises from like maybe I don't know, like what Pixel Opus was working on, or even just like a tease of what the new studios are doing. So, but yeah, I mean, I guess we'll just wait and see. Really, I feel like I came out of it with more questions than answers. Really.
Yeah, that's totally fair. Um,
Yeah, man.
but yeah. Overall, like I said, it was good. I think that's a good tagline, Macho, is that coming away with more questions than answers, I guess. Um, but yeah, definitely excited for the future because, like I said, this only represents like a small portion of like what PlayStation as a whole is doing. I feel like I really do feel like that like if like the ending to this show of getting Insomniac, Polyphony, Insomniac, and Santa Monica like back to back to back to back was incredible. But I feel like because like GT is GT, right? Obviously, it has its audience, but I feel like if we had like, man, that factions too slotted in there, that would have really elevated this show for a lot of people, right? If we had one more PlayStation Studios something
Yeah.
slotted in that ending, I think it really would have elevated the show for a lot of people.
100%, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, like even if it was something small like Pixel Opus's next project, I think yeah, I think it would have made all the difference. But yeah, that's pretty much it.
I also think the structure, final thing, the structure of the show and the order of the announcements, if they were a bit more spread out and you had like two low keys, one big hitter, two low keys, one big hitter, and like if you spread it out differently, the response to the showcase would have been much more different. I feel like, because obviously the way that you receive information factors into how much like you enjoy something. Recency effect being a big thing of it. So, in hindsight, it could have been better. Uh, but then again, we feel excited yet underwhelmed because the big the big hitters were left for the last. Which is why, like, even earlier when I mentioned Project Eve, Macho was like, "Oh yeah, Project Eve." It's like, yeah, that's literally one of the first things they announced, but we barely remember because a lot of the show was very like slow, and the big hitters were at the end, so it got like overshadowed by the
So
obviously the Insomniac
so
title.
so let's
God of
let's
War.
talk about that before we actually get into like checking on our how we did with predictions and whatnot.
Yeah, yeah,
And before we get out of here,
for sure.
how did you guys feel about saving all the PlayStation like the heavy hitters for the ending like that? Because like for me, like it was such a high, man. Like that was so hype. Like I said earlier, like having that
Hmm.
like it was like four bombshells like in a row basically. Well, GT debatable, but you know what I mean. It was just fun, like having that. It was
Yeah.
just like gut punch after gut punch after gut punch. Like it was like experiencing that was so fun. Because usually we're used to those things being spread out a little bit more. So yeah, I'm curious. Like, would you guys have rathered, Wolverine, for instance, saved for the end, God of War put in the middle, Spider-Man 2, placed where like these things kind of peppered in throughout the entire show, or did you guys prefer to have that rush at the end of everything being saved for the end like that?
It's a
Masha,
good
I want to hear
question.
your thoughts on it because and I did express already how I think structuring it differently would have like made people receive it differently. For me, at least, how they structured it, it made sense how they made you ride that high at the end because they want to leave you on a high note, but then you run the risk of once that dies down, once you go into a retrospective, you go, wait, that wasn't as good as I remembered, But I don't know about you, Macho.
I like having the heavy hitter announcements towards the end,
Mm.
just because like I like so it happened when I think it was Forspoken, and then what was the trailer before GTA 5? Do you guys remember?
No,
Yikes.
that whole middle section
Oh,
is
right,
a
GTA
blur.
5 was announced. Yo, I'm excited. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, continue.
No, I mean, regardless, I mean, I had another example in my mind anyway. It was like
Okay, okay.
they announced Marvel's Wolverine, and then they jumped to Gran Turismo 7. I did not give a flying fuck what Gran Turismo 7 was doing
Oh
because
man,
I was on the high of what Marvel's Wolverine
yeah,
what was just announced,
right,
you know.
yeah.
So like Gran Turismo 7, of course, like afterwards I looked at it, I was like, okay, it looks pretty cool, but I'm not a racing sim guy anyway. But like it looked nice for people that are into that. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it was just more of like I will like it. I would it would be kind of it would suck to like have something really big at the beginning of the show and to have that's what everybody focused on afterwards because it was so hype, you know.
Yeah, yeah,
So I like having the heavy hitters at the end.
yeah.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
for me, yeah, I think I would agree. It was just so fun. It was so fun having that at the end because, like I said, it was just gut punch after gut punch after gut punch, and yeah, it was really fun. Again, yeah, you can
I
make
also I'll just say real quick. I also really like just the fact of like I like the beginning being more mysterious of what we're gonna see, which is why Project Eve was like a really nice surprise, and um, the other Forspoken as well. That was cool to get like a trailer from there.
And Kotar.
And yeah, exactly. And Kotar too. Yeah, that was a great like first. That was a great introduction to like the show. So I like the beginning being peppered with mystery announcements, and then the latter being the stuff that can really get people excited.
Yeah.
Yeah. If they had switched Gran Turismo to be first than Wolverine, I think that show would have been received phenomenally different. Phenomenally different. Because a lot of people will remember Wolverine and then either remember Gran Turismo and not give a shit, because the vast majority of people that enjoy Gran Turismo, they're very like they're not as like opinionated as a lot of people that are like, you know, into like with Horizon or Spider-Man or whatever. At least that's what I see on social media. I could be completely wrong, and it's just the circles I am in. But if they had just switched that, you know, a lot of people have that little gap, which is like, wait, what did they announce after that? Oh yeah, Spider-Man. But people don't remember Gran Turismo as much, at least when you see people talking about it online. If they had put Gran Turismo first and then Wolverine, it would have been a different story. Personally, I love the idea of heavy hitters just because I really acknowledge the low-key games, because I appreciate them for what they are. I don't, like, bash them. So I just enjoy the high at the end. In fact, I like what you said, Macho, the mystery in the beginning, because they did throw you Kotar, which is the way it was revealed. It was very mysterious. You completely thrown off guard until they literally put Knights of the Old Republic. You don't know what it is, or at least people that know Dark Revenant, and they know who he is. After that, then it's more of a, like you're left with questions, and then you're more like prone on like taking in the rest of the conference. And then by the end, you're just like, come on, man, I need something. Oh my God, Wolverine, what?
Yeah, I thought it was Jedi Fallen Order 2 they were announcing, honestly.
Really?
I saw Lucasfilm and I was like, Jedi Fallen Order 2.
I legit, I was so low on expectations in my mind. I'm like, is this like a remastered version of Fallen Order or something? Like in my mind, I'm like in the lowest kind of like, oh yeah, this is just another whoa Kotar. But yeah, that's pretty much what my thoughts on it.
So before we get out of here, let's talk about how we did with our predictions. For me, I was 0-5. So I said we would get to see what Sony London was up to, and that they would reveal that they're making Revival a Getaway. That didn't happen. I said Sly would be there. That didn't happen. Resident Evil 4 remake. That didn't happen. I said Firewalk would reveal that they are working on Mag. That definitely didn't happen. And then the fifth one was something abandoned related, which I'm actually shocked we didn't get anything abandoned related at the show.
Oh yeah,
that's another.
No,
omission.
but we did though. It was abandoned. We didn't even see it.
Saying the idea was abandoned, exactly.
Yeah, the idea was abandoned.
But yeah, so I was 0-5. How about you guys?
I kind of don't remember. I think I deleted the document where I had my predictions. But I remember saying that Marvel's not Marvel Spider, but Crystal Dynamics Spider-Man was going to be there. Yeah. That was debunked like literally the day before.
Yeah.
By Square Enix themselves and the Marvel's Avengers account.
Oh, you said that there was gonna be like a PS5 like slim like at the show.
Yeah, that absolutely did not happen.
God damn.
Yeah, that I was definitely wrong on that one.
Yeah, people out here can't even get a normal PS5. Like, come
on. What else did I say in my predictions? I'm blanking right now. Let me look it up. Let me see if I have it saved.
Did you say
well,
Final
you can go
Fantasy
through
or
yours.
Nothing. For me, wait, I have it right here. I promise. Okay. So Bloodborne, no, just false promises in my mind for myself, and just disappointment there. But expected. this is my original list that I wrote, but in the moment when Jay, you mentioned the Sly thing, that was essentially me like an old school revival. But instead of that, I put factions. We didn't see that, obviously. Atlas announcement, nothing Atlas.
Yeah,
Nothing.
man. I was hoping.
That was so. Yeah, I was so like I legit was. That was the only one I was very very hopeful for. But honestly, hey man, take their time. They can take their time. They've earned it. I said a Kojima project. Nope. The man is silent. Kojima is silent. Nothing there. And I mentioned that they were gonna show a little bit more of Ghostwire Tokyo, which they did. So I'm 1 to 5. I am.
Oh, there you go.
5.
Nice.
Yeah.
Macho, I think
Yeah, I mean,
wait, no. It was Walt. You said something about
What?
All Stars.
PlayStation All-Stars,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, that was the big thing at the end that I just went ham on. No, it was too good to be true. I was like, they're not gonna do that. So I like stopped believing it. But yeah, they didn't announce anything like that. Hopefully, a Sony lurker like has listened to our podcast and he's like, I'm gonna pitch this, and they do it in like 10 years. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. One of the things I also guessed on was the next BioShock game is going to be announced.
Oh yeah. And you also said something
that's
about
true.
factions as well, I believe.
Yep.
We're all hoping for factions.
That was one thing I was so confident they were going to show,
Yeah.
but yeah, absolutely not. But yeah, I think that was like 4 of the predictions I had. But yeah, other than that, yeah, either way, I was wrong on all fronts. So
Join the club, man.
So Walt, you win the first official DualShock predictions.
Your prize.
The most underwhelming win.
Your prize is nothing, man.
Yeah, man. My prize is none of the other predictions.
Nothing.
Because they did not show up. God damn it.
Um,
Man, if I'm being honest, dude, I'm happy. I'm happy that the prediction I made came to fruition, but it's specifically that one because I was hopeful that, come on, man, they need some redemption. They need to show more of it. And even though they didn't win Jay's heart, Macho is on the train.
I'm pissed out. I'm pissed off at the fact that we've made 15 predictions, and out of all of them, we only had a single one correct, and it was about goddamn Ghostwire Tokyo. That's some bullshit, man.
I gotta admit, it is. I was in my mind. I was like, I hope their predictions come to fruition.
That's hilarious, man.
Oh,
I hate my life, man.
Oh my god, that's so funny. Yeah.
Oh.
Yo, I can't wait to play Ghostwire Tokyo. Man.
All right. The cap on this app, man. All right. We're gonna end the podcast, man. Guys, thank you guys for tuning in. We appreciate it. I want to remind you guys to go ahead and give the podcast a like. Subscribe to the channel for more laughs like this, man, and more wrong predictions. They're gonna be plenty. I can guarantee you that.
Hey man, I got my sources.
Oh man, Wonton Jr. over here, man. That's crazy.
Yeah, his name is Dude, and his last name is Trust Me.
Oh man. But we're gonna get started with these outros, man. Walt, take it away.
Hey, man. This is gonna be a very busy month for me, except for weekends. I'm gonna be starting my training for my job, so gonna be busy all week. So the gaming will happen early in the mornings, and that I'm gonna be putting hours into Tales of Arise here and there because it's a JRPG, and it deserves its time because it's gonna be a big one.
Yeah. Enjoy that.
Be a grind.
Enjoy that.
Oh yeah, you too. It's gonna be a great ride, Catherine here and there, doing those challenges, doing that hardness, and looking for those waifus. More manga to read. I just ordered volumes of Fire Punch. Same creator as Chainsaw Man wrote that. It's a good read so far. Very bizarre, but other than that, man, gonna be pretty busy month. And hoping training goes well. I need to pass some assessments. Got to pass them, and so that I can officially be like an actual, like on the job. So wish me luck for that. But other than that, not much, man. Excited for the announcements at the showcase, the ones that I'm excited for, and any other surprises that the world might drop. Hey, man, maybe tomorrow we get a trailer drop from Factions. I don't know. Life is weird like that. But yeah.
Outbreak Day, man. Outbreak Day. That's the next one.
Hey,
And
true.
why wouldn't you do it at the goddamn showcase if that's the case, man? I don't want.
No, I know exactly. That's why I think they're just gonna announce some stickers and maybe a backpack on Outbreak Day or something.
You know the vibes. You know what it is. They do that every year,
Exactly.
man.
Sure.
Exactly.
Macho, what about you, man? What's going on this week?
Tales of Arise, man. Tales of Arise in Final Fantasy 14,
sir.
really. And dabbling into Great Ace Attorney. I actually finished the first game in that collection, that 2-game collection. So it was good. It was great. It was a lot of fun, and I'm looking forward to seeing how the second game wraps it up. But I'm inch by inch with that one because Tales of Arise is here, and I decided to actually go for the Platinum Trophy in Final Fantasy 14 on PS4 and PS5. So I got my guides printed. I'm checking off the list. I'm checking it twice, and going through these trophies, man. And it's gonna be a grind. It's gonna be a lot of fun, but I'm looking forward to actually just finally delving into some content I didn't do before in 14. But yeah, Tales of Arise, man. It's a great game so far. I'm looking forward to just playing more today and throughout the weekend, and just finally unraveling why this game is just getting such high praise. But from the bits I played of it, I can definitely see why. So.
Nice. Yeah, the reviews definitely convinced me that I need to get it sooner than later.
Hey.
So yeah, I'm excited to get it whenever I do. But yeah, for
and,
me,
and man, Resident Evil, get to that 8. Come on, man. Get to that 8.
oh yeah, maybe. So yeah, but for me this week really just finishing up RE2. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Once again, thank you guys for watching, and we will catch you guys next week. Same time, 10:30 roughly, Saturday. We'll see you guys then. Peace out.